tēnei te ara kei runga, ko te ara o tēnei tupua, ko te ara o tēnei matua iwi, ko te ara o rangi nui e tūho nei, ko te ara o papatū ānuku e takuto nei. Kararau hora ngā tapua o tānei, tēnei te pō, nei mai te awatea. Ka whakapū rangi aku haka mānoa ki te tīto ko te rangi. Kia mā turuturu mai te aroha, tōna korowai ki ronga ki a tātou i tēnei wā, i tēnei rā. Anō rei, ka mihi rā ki te kai karakia nāna tātou e whakapiri, nāna tātou e whakatata, te ihu whenua ki te ihu wairua, anerara kei taku nei rangatira tēnā koe te whakarite nei a tātou, i tēnei wā, i tēnei pō. Ana reira, mihi mai ki te whānau, o te rā tēnei kaupapa kawe nei ki ngā tōpito e whā te motu. Mihi mai rā ki te kāhui, o te rā ko o koutou nei mokapuna ka tū mai nei tēnei aihi pō. Me ki rā e tūwhera nei te ngākau, e titi nei nā i te manawa, e kapakapana te manawa, ana kia kōkoa i rā te ngākau. Anō reira, kei ngā tuki matanui o kahungunu, kei ngā para huti, kei ngā ririhua o rungo mai wāine, tēnā koutou. Tēnā koutou kei te manu o te whenua, tēnā koutou i o koutou nei kāranga rangatanga, hoa no tēnei rā te tūake nei, ka moia tūronge mahina ranga, ka puta mai ko raukawa, tēnei rā te miake kia koutou ko te haukainga, ka te rā tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou. Ko tāku noa, he tautoko e kawe ake e tiaki nei rai te mauroi nei o ngā huihuinga tēnei kaupapa, ko te tuarua tēnei taumo tēnei kaupapa ka tūai. I te māramo mai, i tū i roto i te rohe o te arawa, ana hau mai rā te rangatahi ki te rao ngā whakātorenga. Nō reira, ko tēnei kaupapa mā koutou, kei te hunga rangatahi hau mai nei, kei ngā tama, kei te pai tuatoru rā, nei rā te kōrero, tama tū, tama ora, tama noho, tama mate. Nō rei, tēnā koutou e piri mai, tēnā koutou e ari taringa mai tēnei pō. Nō rei, e mihi ana ki te kau whakapāho, e whakarite nei, e whakakoakoa nei, e whakangahau nei i tēnei pō. E runga tonu nei, ka rungo koutou ki ngā kōrero mamai, ki ngā kōrero pō uri. Hoi anō, he rā anō ki tua, ka kitea, te rā e tirama mai ana, nō rā mihi ana. Ahua no ka huri te keo tēnā ngā waka ki a tātou nei tini mate, a tātou nei tini atua. O tira tērā o ngā pau whakatupu o te reo, no te arawa waka rā, o tira tātou bi Curtis. Ko tanei ngā whitu o te pō, ko rārangi ngā rangi o te rā. Ko te kapo kai anake, e mō tia nei, auwe taukiri. Ana reira tangihia ngā kākā haitara, ngā manu kaiwa ki te kuruku ki te roko wai, o honi nui te pō, ki te huinga o te kahirangi, ki reira rā koutou, oki ai. Nā reira, apiti hono tātou ngā mataura o rātou mā, tēnā koutou, a kātira tēnā tātou katoa. Taki tū he wai anō ne, pūria nei. Pūria nei e te ho, orahia e te ua, whitia e te rā. mai a ke ngā poraruraru. Makere ana ngā here. Makere ana ngā here. Anaira hei whakikapunga kōrero māku e kore te aroha o rā taumā e wai kuratea. Nō reira, kei aku nuhi, kei aku rahi, kei ngā koe e noho ake nei, hei whakaruru hau mō tātou i tēnei pō. Tēnā koutou, kā tira tēnā tātou katoa. Emi. Kia ora whānau.
Kia ora mai anō koutou katoa. Welcome to our kaupapa, which is real talk with real people giving their real stories e hoa mā. And before we do start our kaupapa kōrero, and of course give you all of those real boring kōrero about where the whare paku is. Thank you very much. Oh, this one's got no echo on it. Okay. It's one of those ones. It's all right. Ka pai tātou. Nā reira, I've just placed a few tihate on these tūru up the front here. And big shout out to, of course, our first kai kōrero. We'll give a bit of a premature round of applause for Paris Brown. Aira. And just before she hits the stage, e karema, like I said, we've got some tihate on these tūru up the front here. And these tihate are celebrating, of course, a kaupapa that she led alongside her whānau and very close friends about pride, ne? Pride, the pride hikoi. And this is what these t-shirts are about. And while I've laced them out on these tūru, it's because rangatahi mā, I want to give them to you. So come and fill these chairs over here. E toru ngā tihate ki ro, and e toru ngā hātea ki reira. So rangatahi mā, whānau mā, we want you all to neke mai, whakatata mai. Like right now, before we're not going to start without you starting. Come on, whānau. There's 3 tihate here. We need these chairs to be filled up, okay? All right? No, I'm serious. I'm not starting this kaupapa till you fellas move up. Kia ora whai, she's ready. Come up that front, girl. Kia ora, yes. Oh, they must be from Ruahapia. That's my marae whānau. Kāre te whakamā. No mai. All right, we got 3 tihate here. Beautiful model right here showing us these tihate. Okay, and we got 3 over here as well. No mai hara mai. Come on, whānau. Whakatata mai. Oh, ka pai. No mai. Yes, one over here, babe. Ka pai. Oh, hey, this is the manu kōrero winner. Oh, put it up for her, the manu kōrero winner. Oh, fabulous. And guess what? She's from Karamu too. Oh, the Karamu whānau in the whare. I know, girl. E kore au e ware, girl. Kia ora. Oh, like, see, that's what it is, eh? When you involve yourself with rangatahi, they inspire you. So get it, girl. All right, okay, now, to the kaupapa whānau. If you fellas need a whare paku, well, that's just outside those tatou there. But we're going to do the marae tikanga thing. If there is a kai kōrero speaking, please remain in your seat. If you are busting, just do a little bit of a kani on that tūru, girl. And then hoaki when we get up and start changing over, all right? So our whare paku are just out there. If we do have to, oh, hopefully we're not, because look, it's all dark out there. In case of an emergency, we all roll out onto the grassy patch out the front there, okay? Which is exit out these main doors, head over to the grassy patch over there. But that ain't happening tonight because the Māui is good here tonight. And also, during our breaks in that e huama, especially around that cup of tea time, at the back there, we got some services, ne? So on the far corner here, we have got Mahi for Youth. They are a whānau who can help our rangatahi get into some mahi. Next to them, we got Connected. Paris, that's you too, eh, girl? Cut it out. All right, so we got Connected over there. We got Tipuake Tonu as well. And, of course, our last one, which is Te Whatu Ora o Te Matau a Māui. But we'll give you a little bit more kōrero around that in between the breaks. Ne? Ka pai tātou. Also, yous have got a puka puka. Have you got a puka puka in your hand? A little booklet? Put your booklets in the air, wave them round like you just don't care. Yes, excellent, all right. In here, whānau, there are some little wāhi, some spaces in there. I hope you brought a pen. Hey, we're going to get all dolled up and grab my pen when I come to this kaupapa. But anyway, if you have any notes in particular that you want to write about any of our kai kōrero, there are some spaces in here. And guess what? We're the first region to actually get a puka puka like this. So flash, hey, give a big shout out to Real Talk for hooking us up. Ka pai, ka mutu e hoa ma. Now we understand that this kaupapa is about our beautiful kai kōrero, ne? So while our kai kōrero are talking, some of us may feel triggered, ne? And if you do feel triggered, if you feel like a well of roimata about to stream down your face, kare, or something has kind of triggered something in you, to all our Real Talk whānau, put your hands up in the air. Ka pai. They are wearing these beautiful green tihate. They're over here as well. Brother in the back, sisters over here. Please go and see them. Ne? They will come. They will rescue you. They will take you out, have a bit of one-on-one, and then bring you back into the kaupapa. Ka pai tātou. So if you are feeling a little bit pāpauri, feeling in that pō uri, pō kere, they are the ao marama, okay? You just look towards them and they are the ao marama for you. Ka pai, we all down with that whānau? Ka pai tātou. Woo! I tell you what, that was a lot to get through. Well, te ahua nei me tere tā tātou haere. I did want to give away one more prize before we do get into our next kai kōrero. You know, should we do just one more prize for our rangatahi? I think so. All right, e te whānau. We are going to give away a goodie box. Is that it? Actually, which one is that? That's all these are all here for use. These here, but you've got to answer some miki pātai e hoa ma. So, tuatahira, it's for a rangatahi out there that's kind of, you know, down with the reo, down with the karakia too, okay? Why I say that e hoa ma, so the treat box collection, they are a pakihi, thank you e te tuahine, from, of course, the beautiful South Island, which is in Nelson. And just recently, Nelson has been experiencing some terrible weather. It's actually quite dangerous. You know, they're in like civil defence mode at the moment, and it's quite dangerous. So I was thinking, because of all the karakia going down, is there a rangatahi out there that can come up on this stage and bust us up another karakia just to set that mode, you know, just to really drive it hard? You know, Matua Thompson, you did a miki karakia, but when a rangatahi does it, it's sort of like, oh, tau te wairua nei. So is there, brother, no mai, ooh, straight up, brother, no mai, paki mai ki tēnei rangatahi. Woo! Ka pai tēnā koe, tuatahi rā, ko wai koe?
Oh, Lucine.
Oh, true. He was like, oh, far out. I thought I was just coming up for a karakia, man. Ka pai. Would you like the mic, or would you like to just let the wairua send you?
Bow heads. Whakatoka te hui ki tūri, whakatoka te hui ki te tonga, kia mā kina ki ito, kia mā taratara ki toi, he hia ki ana te ata kura, he teo, he huka, he huhu, ti hei, mahuri.
Brother, ka pai. You just won yourself that goodie box there, brother. Ka pai, ngā mihi nui kia koe. Big round of applause for our first rangatahi coming up on stage, busting it up with a whakataka te hau. Oh, ka mau te wehi e hoa. Nā reira, e kare mā, e hine mā, e hika mā. Throughout the evening, we want to give all of these prizes away. So I would strongly suggest you to whakarongo to our kai kōrero. Okay, because we're going to pluck something out of there. Okay, so āta whakarongo ki ngā kai kōrero. Secondly, I want you to get a bit familiar with the Real Talk kaupapa. Of course, keep an eye on these websites. That's a hint, right? The kaupapa, another hint. All right, whānau? So just letting you know, okay, because those are the pātai. That's where the pātai are going to come from, ne? All right, usually we go like this. There she is again. Oh my God. Cut it out, girl. Oh, now this beautiful sister here. This was our kai kōrero, our kai waiata. Taku here, our kai waiata. And this sister here, oh, I tell you what, we had a good little vibe at the Radio Kahungunu yesterday, eh, sissy? And she blew us away with a bit of a pariaro number. I was like, because I hadn't heard her sing yet, ne? So I was like, okay, you know how we at Kahungunu, eh? We're like, oh, yeah, we got some new fellas coming in. But then she rolled it over. She goes, no, I'm from Kahungunu, sis, my baby. He's from Bridge Pa. I went, oh, yeah, Bridge Pa. That's them. O tira, mihia te ki tēnei o ngā tuahine. That's where you can find her at _ Lucy Sings. Okay, so make sure you add our whānau. While we're at it, if you are taking any pikitia, any videos, don't forget to tag our Real Talk whānau into it, and of course that kai kōrero. That'd be really great. Okay, so they can share it onto their page too. All right, whānau. Hey, what are you talking with, girl? Which one? Ka mihi atu rā ki te matua nei, ara nāna I whakahoki te kōrero ki tēnei o I roto I ngā mahi o te Māori, nā reira, e te matua tēnā nō koe. Paki mai ki tō tātou, nei manuhiri ko tatu mai nei ki roto I a tātou. All right, okay, who's this one? Oh, yeah, we just did that, whānau. Okay, we're doing well. We are doing well. We just gave that away to our young brother there. Ngā mihi nui e hoa. Thank you for doing our karakia. Oh, here it is, e te whānau. Now, one more round of applause for our Real Talk whānau here. Ko rātou e huri noa I te motu, paki mai e hoa mā. We are very fortunate. This is our first time in Heretaunga. This is our first time in Heretaunga. It's ahuriri, girl. Ahuriri. Sorry, whānau. This is our first time in Kahungunu, te Matau a Māui, so we must make it a time to remember and, of course, bring the kaupapa back, okay? Because we want to see this beautiful whānau back here celebrating and, of course, bringing real people, real stories and real talk to our stage and to our people. Ne? Nā reira. Oh, there's some more whakahua in there, e te whānau. Don't they look? We'll be joining that soon. We'll be on that soon, okay, e te whānau. I mean, like, ngā kai kōrero I roto I a tātou. Ne? Also, you can go and check all of these out on their Facebook and IG pages, also their website. Ne? I think we're nearly there. Oh, one more e te whānau. There they are, ara te whānau nui. And anei ngā wāhi, so if you've missed tonight's one, you're more than welcome to go to any of our other wāhi here. Kei te huri rauna rātou I te motu. This kaupapa started in 2020. What happened in 2020, whānau? COVID. And look, this kaupapa started up. So that just showed you opportunity was in the dark, e te whānau, that came to light. And there is the beautiful Real Talk whānau. Like, this is a whānau-led kaupapa. Ara te māma, me ona tuahine, me ona tamahine. This is a mother, her sisters and her daughters running this kaupapa out of love, passion and courageous mana. So give them a round of applause one more time, e hoa mā. All right, I'm officially sweating up here, e te whānau, just quietly, okay? And we are ready to introduce, oh, look, another prize. Oh, we will just get the ball rolling e te whānau ne, so that we can get into our kaupapa kōrero. But these are some support services out there. If you didn't know of them, anei wetahi wāhi mā koutou, hei aha, hei āhuru mōwai mā koutou, hei aki, hei poi hoki a koutou. We will go back to these slides here, so if you want to take a picture of these, you're more than welcome to ne. Kia mōhio mai koutou, anei wetahi wāhi, hei hāpai a koutou. Oh, right, and there was another prize. I think I might be going too far ahead. No. Oh. Mihi atu ki tēnei o ngā kapa e hoa mā, kei te koro nei hana rātou. They are at the koro nei hana, so we've done a fill in there e hoa mā. O tira, no, it's just the prizes. I'm going to stop, leave it there. And ko tai te wā, ka tukuna te rākau ki tō tātou nei kai kōrero tuatahi, ne? So e te whānau, ko te kai kōrero tuatahi, I'm very fortunate to have known and actually watched this young, beautiful puti grow up into who she is today. I met this young person, when still a young swan. It was a young swan, ne? Finding its way through life, ne? And she did. She found her way through life. And I'm going to leave all these beautiful introductions for her because even though I've watched her grow, kare te tino mōhio, not too sure on their story, ne? And that's what we're all here to do, ne? To listen to their stories that they want to share with us. Nā reira e hoa mā, I'd like you all to please give us a big round of applause for our first kai kōrero hitting the stage, the none other, the wonderful Paris Brown.
Tēnā koutou whānau. Oh, cool. Che, right. Tēnā koutou whānau, ko haramai ki tēnei pō ki tēnei kaupapa tāhua. Ko tōku pepeha I te taho o tōku pāpā, ko orangi te maunga, ko whakakinui ārua te waiu, ko ngai tipu te hapu, ko te horo te marae, ko ngai te kaunganiti iwi, ko takiti me te waka. Ko tōku pepeha i te tau o tōku māma, ko te awa pūtahi te maunga, ko te urikaitai te awa, ko rongomarairua te marae, ko ngā tikere te hapu, ko ngā te kaunganiti iwi, ko takiti me te waka. Ko Paris James, ataria shāshā tōku ingoa, no whakaki me paranga hawa hau, engari, kai ahuriri i ono hoana. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Hey. Damn, the nerves are hitting right now. Lucky I can't see none of y'all. But anyway, whānau, so so I'm first up tonight. So what my story is about is the trials and tribulations of finding myself. So obviously born male, now it's woman. It's a woman. Woman! But prior to you fellas coming in tonight, whānau, actually underneath your fellas' chairs, if you want to have a look, I've actually hid nothing. So, cool, neat. Just wanted you to have a bit of a eye. Anyway, right, on kapai, I picked this up. So whānau, on one chilly Hastings evening, not too long ago, a whānau's life was about to change. The world was about to change. I was born. So my mother, a freezing worker, my father, a mechanical engineer, and myself. That was the makeup of our whānau. Let me just find my first slide. Oh, yep, kia ora, right. Aye, so this is me. So 7 months, I was packed up, shipped off, and I was raised by my grandparents, like a lot of tamariki here, raised by their grandparents out in the country. So I was raised up Porongahau. Total population, 350 people tops. So in Porongahau, I was very much my grandparents' little tail. Hey, all the marae events, all the community events, all the whānau events, everything. I was very much following them. I was known as the child that knew all the Spice Girls songs, and I still do. All the Spice Girls songs with the cutest cheeks, which I still have. But yeah, so that was me with my grandparents. So up until 4 whānau, it was just me and my papa passed away at 4. And then it was just me and my grandmother, my rock. She has very much been in my corner since day dot, my matriarch. So from 4 onwards, I started kura at Porongahau, total tamariki, 54. Total whānau there, 54. We're all related in Porongahau, so it was predominantly made up of whānau. We did have the odd farmer whānau in there, but cool, kei te pai, they were whānau at the end of the day. For the first couple of years of kura, was all good, because we just started kura. We were all experiencing kura for the first time. So for us, being at kura, it was meke. Around 8 is when my kind of life started changing. I started noticing that I was a bit more than just a boy. Hey, you wanted to hang out with the girls, you wanted to play with the dolls, tamia. You didn't want to go and play rugby, hika no. Hell no. I mean, actually, in saying that, I did play rugby, 1 game, but it was too busy doing cartwheels at that end of the field. So my mother decided, nah, Cole, rugby's not for you, girl. Anyway, so around 8 is when I started hearing these unfamiliar words. The word faggot, the word homo, the word fag. And because I was a plump child, everything you just heard with the word fat in front of it. So for me, those are quite hurtful words for an 8-year-old. But for me, I was just continuing to be myself. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know who else to be. That's who I was. Point blank, period. It is so hot up here. But yeah, so with me being at Porongahau, I started hanging out with the girls, doing all the girl stuff, as you do. But the majority of our whānau, as I mentioned, majority of the kura, as I mentioned before, were whānau. So this bullying was actually happening within my whānau. But I didn't want to be known as a snitch, so I said nothing. I kept my mouth shut. So, yep, nah. I never told my grandma, no, nothing. But I should have. I actually should have spoken to someone, but I didn't. I kept all that hara inside, and it just slowly ate at me. There was days there where I'd go home and just cry, because nothing else to do, just go home and cry. Just kind of really, whew. I enjoyed being in the classroom though at kura, because that was the times that I actually didn't get picked on, because the teacher was around. It was playtime and it was lunchtime that got me. 10 minutes, Paris, 10 minutes, that's all you got to wait before you go back into class and it's all Tepaiho. 10 minutes. So that's what I used to say to myself on the daily, to try and get through the school day. So bullying for me continued into my travels back into Hastings. So at 10, I got a little bit too much for my grandmother to handle, so I had to come back into Hastings to my parents. Kei te pai, that's all cool. So I ended up going to Kimberley. So anyone from Kimberley here? Cool. So when I came into Hastings, I was raised in the hood. No doubt, straight up, the hood was the best place for me. The hood is where I found love. That's where I found people that were not so much going through the same stuff as me, but as hard stuff, but different stuff. So for us at Kimberley School, we were very much a whānau. Regardless of our backgrounds, regardless of the things that we were going through, we knew enough of the things that that each other were going through to not ask. Just love each other at school. So hands down the best 2 years I've ever had at kura. It was a place I could go just to be a kid, just to be able to go and learn. Kimberley was the place for me. After Kimberley, I trickled down to Heretaunga because it's only down the road. So I went down to Heretaunga Intermediate. Heretaunga was a blur. For me, my new hellhole was the bus, the school bus. Who catches the school bus? Or who's ever catched the school bus before? Now, were you fellas at the back or the front? Yeah, girl. So for me, I was a front person. I wasn't cool enough to sit at the back. So that's where a lot of the remarks came from. Aroha mai makas. Aroha mai makas. So that's for me, that's where a lot of my remarks come from, was the back of the bus. So I lived 7 k's away from school. So at 12 or at 11, it was either you walk 7 k's to school and you walk 7 k's back, or you catch that hellhole of a bus. Girl, I chose to walk, but I lost no weight. Okay. I chose to walk. Just so I didn't get teased. Just so I didn't have to go through that half an hour of hell, because then it all happened again once I got to kura. I was going through a phase where I was a little bit more feminine than the boys. I was a little bit more, actually, sometimes feminine than the girls, you know? And I just thought that was normal, because being in Porongaho, you're not really open to things like that, because it's very much a small community, very much a small whānau community. Yes, so Heretaunga, after that, travelled to Karamu High School, which I wasn't really there for long. Karamu High School, well, what can I say, girl? Karamu High School actually wasn't too bad if I stayed there, but I didn't. So, because I've been bullied right from primary to intermediate to the beginning high school, I kind of started forming this hard shell around me. I started forming this shell where I kind of pushed people away from me, where I was hard. I started hiding behind my mouth. My mouth was my tool to survive. And at the same time, my mouth was my savior, really. A lot of people actually, because of my size, they didn't actually realize that, girl, I couldn't fight. But because I was big, so no one really messed with me, because I was big. But at the same time, my mouth was, still is today. But my mouth was very much my tool to survive at kura. So with high school, because of all the stuff that I had been through, I adapted this ugly attitude. I adapted this attitude that, nah, school's not for me. I don't want to do nothing. I don't want none of that. So I never applied myself. Never applied myself to kura. I never applied myself to anything around that time of the age, apart from smoking, drinking, tamia. So I actually started smoking a little bit earlier than a lot of people in here. So sis used to sell them at school, because that's how sis made your money, So sis started selling smokes at school. After that, I got asked to leave nicely. I got asked to leave high school very nicely at 15. Ended up at a hospitality course. You didn't do much there either. But I wanted to mahi. So I went to the freezing works because that's what I knew, eh? And you would think that a person like me wasn't welcome into that place. But that place for me was the place I found my brothers and my sisters. I was at the freezing works. So I was there for 7 to 8 years. With the freezing works, yeah, it was hard out. It was hardcore, but I loved it. Hey, mahi, mean money. That goes for my year on the deep sea fishing boats that I've done too. That's another place you wouldn't think you'd find someone like me. But again, that type of environment I was in was very much whakawhanaungatanga. They loved me point blank, period. What I had realised is that I was in the adult world now. I was in the adult world. Well, it was a lot more bigger than being a rangatahi or, a tamariki, but I was in the adult world where everything was different. So that's where I kind of started getting a lot of respect because I held my own with my mouth, obviously, because I couldn't do anything else. So I held myself with my mouth and carried on. So during my time at the freezing works, I came up to my parents. I was 18. I was drunk. I was nervous. My father being a very... Oh, there's my parents over here. So my father being a very old school man, the disapproval, like the feeling of disapproval was high because my father being very much old school, raised old school. Came out to them. I told them, hey, I think I'm gay. They're like, oh, yeah? Oh, well, we knew. I was like, hey? Well, why don't you fellas say nothing? They're like, well, that's not our call at all. I was like, well, you could give me a heads up. They're like, no. That's your life. So yeah, fair enough, all good. So after that, I was worried for nothing, hey? I was worried for nothing. Because what I should have realised is that my mum and dad had my back from the beginning. Because they did. They just didn't tell me. Would have been better to have a heads up, but hoia no. So with them, came out, cool. But I was still stuck in this place that had caused me so much grief and hara. So I thought, hey, hang on. I was still stuck in this place that caused me grief and hara. So here you see me at my worst. This is me at my biggest. This is me at the point in time where I'm like, wait, am I a gay male or are you a woman? What are you up to? So this is the time I was questioning myself. I needed to test these waters just a little bit more, but Hawke's Bay wasn't the place for that. This was the place that it all started, really. So it wasn't actually a place for me to be. So 3 days later, you're seeing yourself in Sydney. It was like, oh, I might just move to Sydney on Saturday. It was a Thursday. And then Saturday, yeah, you packed your bags and you was off to Aussie. Australia was the place that helped me find myself. Australia, I had to leave my home to find who I really was. And that for me, once I really thought about it, shouldn't have actually happened. I should have been able to find myself here. But I couldn't. I had to travel away for it. I started a mahi in Australia that was very much let me be me, let me do me, let me dress up, kind of let me find myself. And so over in Australia, I was a sales manager for male strippers, funnily enough. And I loved it because my boss was massive, he was gangster. Yeah, he was on. But alas, my time in Australia came to an end due to my grandmother being sick. So I come home. But at that point, I had to think, are you going to go home and be the same person that you were when you left? Or are you going to go home and are you going to be the woman that you found in Australia? Girl, I come home to be a woman. I come home, I found myself. And that was all through my whānau, the friends that I did have at the time. I come home and I thought, gee, don't I look good? Anyway, this is actually my first event I went out and I was dressed up. I felt myself day in, day out. Yeah, girl, you looked fly. It was neat. But this is me coming home. This is a couple of the first weeks that I returned back to New Zealand. I'm happier. Hey, don't I look happier? I found myself, honestly, come home, decided to be the woman that I was. This is me today. Due to me finding myself and be able to, aroha understand who exactly I am, has actually helped me help our community. So here whānau, 25th of June 2022 was the day my life changed. This was the day that Hawke's Bay held its first ever Twin City Pride hikoi. So when I was going through this and sorting all this out, there was only 6 people. 160 plus whānau turned up for that day to walk for our community. We walked from just down the road all the way to Hastings. 21 kilometres whānau, it was neat. But it was hard out. 160 plus whānau come on that day. It was the best day of my life. For me, that's another birthday. It's a time where I can actually be able to give back to our hapuri and be able to help them find themselves. So I found myself, now I'm here to help you find yourself. Because at the end of the day, once you find yourself, you're truly happy. You're happier, you're better, you're a better person. You know, you can hold more conversations, hold more relations when you know who you are. I know who I am now, and that's due to this hapuri here. With this, so this kaupapa that we had here actually got a little bit more traction than I thought. So Te Karere ended up on a couple of the magazines around Hawke's Bay, and a couple of the websites. Even, that's actually how I come onto this stage here. It was because of this thing here. But it was the day my life changed, and the day that Hawke's Bay is going to change. Because from here on out, whānau, my passion, my mission in life at the moment, or in life, is to help our hapuri, our takatapui hapuri of Te Mātawa Māui. Because there's heaps of us out there, whānau, and I'm only on Facebook, so if you want to holla, all good. I mean, like, if you want me to help you, that's better. Like, you know, sophisticated woman, you know. But this is my passion, this is my mission in life, whānau. If you ever go through what I went through or similar things, come and have a yarn, message me, let's have a kōrero. I'm here to help you. Kia ora whānau.
Kia kaha paki mai anō for the wonderful Paris Brown e hoa mā. Ka mau ke te wehe. And yes, Paris has started a massive movement here in Hawke's Bay around, of course, celebrating a takatapui whānau. So, like she said, you can get her at Auntie Pere on IG, e te whānau. Auntie Pere is where it's at, nera. Before we do introduce our fantastic kai kōrero tuarua mo te pōnei e hoa mā, kua tai te wā ki te tuku i tētahi atu taonga. So we are going to do a few more giveaways e karema, e hoa mā. All right, and as it did say on this one here, we'll just go back one. It's a nevertheless. Yes, paki for this. Pakihi e hoa mā. Now, there is one beautiful thing about this kaupapa here, Real Talk. They got connected with a lot of these local businesses started by Māori people. So to all of yous in here that have a business, give yourself a round of applause, e karema. Yes, you have started something that, people are only still thinking about it, e hoa mā. So nevertheless, it's like one of those oodies, eh? It's a oodie whānau. It's a oodie. Oh, it's a snuggie. Oh, cut it right. Get it right, Crystal. It's a snuggie, okay? All right. Nā reira, e te whānau. I'm just checking out to see how hata tātou pātai. Oh, yes, it says pull something from Paris's kōrero. All right. You're right? Okay. Come here. Okay, all right. So we're going to pull something from Paris's kōrero. She did touch on a lot of things in there, but one thing that stood out was this metropolis she comes from, this fantastic place that is the centre of her universe. Ne? And we got someone in the background going, yeah, I know that place, but it's for Rangatahi to answer and the whare. Okay, so if you know where Paris is from, this beautiful centre of the universe, tēnā, kia kamakama mai, yeah, I got a sister over there, hara mai, I can only see a ringa. Yep, there you go, girl. Yes. Hara mai, oh, she's just, girl, she came out with it, like, I'm going to strip for you too, girl. Oh, hey, hi, ko ai koe?
Anihira.
And where are you from, girl?
Bridgepa.
Bridgepa. Any Bridgeparians in the whare? Yeah, right. All right. And actually, hold on. Who are you representing tonight, girl?
Poodle too.
Oh, any Poodle two sisters in the whare? Yeah, ka pai. We will get to that very soon too, e te whānau. All right, so the pātai was, Paris Browns comes from this beautiful metropolis here in Kahungunu. What is that place?
Porongahau.
Was it Porongahau? AKA what else?
Piho
in the whare. You know. There you go. E te tua. Hene, give her a round of applause there, Wama. She just won herself. Nevertheless, snuggy. All right, e Wama, we are going to go straight into our next kai kōrero for our evening e karema. And a brief introduction for our tuahine here. Once again, very fortunate to have sat with this beautiful sister here during some of our business studies. And I must say, from my personal experience and sitting around this sister here, I must say she is a wahine that empowers courageous women and something to be admired for that, e hoa. She has led us into her life and with restriction as well. So a wahine that can do that to invite you into her life, but also say, anei, here's your boundary, here's your taiapa, don't pass it, anō nei he wahine purotu tērā e hoa mā. And we as wahine, we need to start being like that e karema. Wahine mā, stop letting ourselves be walked over and used indiscriminately. This wahine here shows us how we should be presenting ourselves. Nā reira, e hoa mā, without further ado, please give a warm waiapu road welcome for the one, the only, Miss Jonique Oli.
I can stand here, all good. Okay. Tēnā koutou. Hold up. Oh, never mind, I'm just going to start. He wiwi Ngāti no Poraurangi, he iwi moke no Waiapu, no whangau ke nā no Hikurangi, he wiwi he Ngāti he whanoke. Tēnā rā tātou, ko Jonique Oli tōku ingoa. I hail from the mighty East Coast. So I'm very privileged to be standing here tonight for this real talk, even though I'm not from here. I te taho tōku māma, my whānau are the Kaiwai from Mangahania and the Karini from Uawa, and I te taho tōku pāpā, my whānau are the Hawa from Tauwera and the Crawfords from Uawa. So yeah, I've lived here in Kahungunu for 7 years, my darling's from here, and so that's what brings us here, and I have grown to love this place like my own home. I'm really glad that I can't see you guys because I was quite nervous just sitting over there before. So yeah, he mihi tēnei kia koe Tania and your crew for organising this beautiful night and for allowing me to be on your stage tonight. Thank you so much. I actually had a talk prepared for weeks for you guys, and on our drive here I'd said I'm not gonna use it. I'm just going to talk to take the pressure off myself trying to remember everything, and hopefully I don't regret it at the end of the talk. Engari, some of you may know me from my Pākehī Waiapu Road. Some of you may know me from my Pākehī Waipu Road. Some of you may know me as Pleiadi's wife. I get that a lot, like, oh, that's Pleiadi's wife, Councillor Oli, Some's Touch Barber, the barber. I'm the scary wife that he outs on all his TV interviews. That's me, kia ora. And yeah, he's from the beautiful golden sands of Satui Atua in Samoa, and I'm from the beautiful golden sands of Uawa in Tolaga Bay. So yeah, it's quite a beautiful connection. We've got 3 tamariki there and 1 on the way. And actually, when I said yes to this kaupapa, I wasn't hapu. And so, aroha mai, if I'm laughing 1 minute and crying the next, it's definitely the baby. Let's blame the baby. So this is my whānau. This is my why. This is what I do, everything that I do for. It's them. And when I was putting together my kōrero, there hasn't been one moment in my life that's made me who I am. There hasn't been one defining moment, and I feel like my life has actually been a collection of defining and refining moments that have made me the wahine that I am today. And so tonight my kōrero is touching on each of those moments, touching on those key events that broke me really and rebuilt me to make me who I am today. And I feel like I can't acknowledge one event without the other, and each of them have all played a part in making me who I am. Whoops, I'm skipping too fast. So this is my mahi. I'm currently on maternity leave, but my day job is a careers advisor and a guidance counsellor at Te Kura Kaupapa Māori o Te Wānanga Whare Tāpiri o Tākitimu. I'm also the owner of Waipu Road, if you guys have heard of my business. I'm also studying a psychology and counselling degree. So all up, our whānau is quite a busy whānau, but everything that we do, we're really passionate about. It's not a life for everyone. Our whānau, our kids, all their life we've been busy. My husband's in district council. He does, different contracting work, and we're always we're a go whānau. But everything we do, everything we touch is intentional, and we're passionate about it. And so we lead a life that we love. So this is my business here. So Waipu Road was inspired, obviously, the road that leads me home, and it is. So Waipu Road. Who here has heard the song 35? I've seen you guys all doing TikTok, so I know you know. Yeah. So Waipu Road is also known as 35. It's the same road, and it's a road that stretches from Uawa all the way up the coast. It's just one highway, and that's where I was raised, all along that road. So that's what my Pākehī was inspired by. And these are some of the beautiful wahine. So these kakahu are kakahu that I've created for my Pākehī, and these are some of the women that have worn them. And I think my Pākehī and who I am as well is someone that is very passionate about empowering people, but especially wahine. And as I talk, I guess you guys will get why. You'll understand why that's so important to me. And so my business is something that I'm very, very proud of. This is me, baby me. And that's our homestead, our Kaiwai homestead that sits neatly on Waipu Road. So that's just out of Uawa in Mangatuna. And so I had a very, very humble upbringing, straight country kid. So don't let the glitz and glam fool you. I can shaukina and I can do all the things. So we gravel road. My nan used to hand wash our clothes. We had long drops. We used to bath in a bucket by the fire. That kind of upbringing. And I think it was that upbringing that made me. And I never forget that. As humble as it was, I wouldn't change my upbringing for the world. It reminds me of where I started, and it reminds me of why I do what I do. And I have had the most fond memories, my child have the most fond memories and the most heartbreaking memories as well, but this place here holds a lot of good memories for me. This is my whānau. So my mum there on the, wait, what side is that? Left. That's me and my sister. So she was, my parents were teen parents. And I ended up being raised by my Crawford grandparents, which are the two on the left in the top photo. So they raised me from a baby to about when I was 14. And I grew up with a sense of resentment. Like I wondered why of all my siblings, you know, my parents had split up and had new whānau and stuff, but I always wondered why I was the one that kind of got left behind, you know, like why was I the one that got given away kind of thing. But in hindsight, being raised by my grandparents was a taonga that not many people get to have, and they are an integral part of who I am. And I'm very lucky that all four of my grandparents are still alive and well today, and that our tamariki gets to spend every holidays. I ship them off, go back to Nan and Papa. But you know, they share a lot of mātauranga and a lot of love that isn't present here today, and so I never take them for granted. They mean the world to me. And so yeah, this is us. This is my upbringing, and this is growing up, I experienced a lot of alcoholism, drug abuse in my whānau. And a lot of domestic violence. And I feel like as a child witnessing those things, it was around all the time, I internalized it, I stored it, and it became part of who I was. So as I grew and as I, you know, came into adulthood, the things that I had experienced in my environment were things that I thought were normal. So the domestic violence, the drug abuse, you know, toxic traits and behaviours, I thought that was normal because I grew up seeing that every day. And what I share about my whānau, it's not to whakaiti them because I love them so much, but it's just to share the actual experience of being a child that has witnessed that growing up and how it affected me. And so I embodied that behaviour as I grew because I thought it was normal. And it wasn't until I learned that I could unlearn those behaviours that life changed for me. And I acknowledge that all behaviour has a whakapapa, it all comes from somewhere. And I also acknowledge the effects of colonisation and the cycles that my whānau carried. And I also acknowledge the cycles that we've broken with each generation, and turning generational trauma into a generation of healing, which is something that I'm very proud that our tamariki walk on. They walk in the generation of healing, where we walked in the generation of trauma. So I really do acknowledge that. This is my brother-in-law Some. It's my brother-in-law Some, and Some was so talented. He had the world at his feet. Charming, fun, happy. He was a great dancer, and all our kids loved him. And in 2012, he committed suicide. I was there the night that he committed suicide, and I remember seeing him. We didn't have any idea. And I remember seeing him for the last time. He had just strolled in. You know, what I noticed was weird was he didn't eat his kai. Like, my husband has a whānau. I think there were like 20 of us living at the houses. There were 2 houses that they own, and he's got like 10 siblings. There were like 20 of us living at the home, and so if you didn't eat, you were going to miss out. And I remember thinking, I wonder why he didn't eat his kai. He kind of just walked in, looked around, and walked out. And then what seemed like minutes later, I heard my sister-in-law screaming his name, but it was that cry, that mamai cry, and we raced to her in the shed just outside to see him hanging. And Some was a defining moment in my life. saw him hanging, and I remember I was the one that called the ambulance. We had cut him down, and I remember the phone person, the phone operator saying, "You have to breathe, just breathe." So I was having a panic attack, and my ribs were sore, and I just couldn't fathom the situation that we were in and what I was looking at. But it was too late, and he was gone. He didn't get resuscitated. And one thing that I'll never forget is when his body was being pushed out on the stretcher, and that was when my husband, my boyfriend at the time, had come back from mahi, and I'll never forget that cry. I'll never forget his cry when he saw his brother lying there. And it was not long, actually during the time that Some had passed away, I was about to leave my then boyfriend, my husband. And so I've already told him that I'm going to tell you guys this, so kei te pai. I had been unhappy for a long time, and he had asked me that night, just stay so that we can talk about it. And in hindsight, I'm glad that I stayed, or I would have never been, there to support him during this time. But I left. Not long after the funeral, I packed my boys up, our 2 boys, and I left without why. I just knew that Some taught me that life was too short to be unhappy, and Plenty had gone out to do errands. I think he had gone to the supermarket, and I just left. 2 days later, I flew back to Brisbane, and that's where my life as a single mother would start for 3 years. This is us. This is when I was a single mum to our 2 babies, and it was hard. It was hard, and they're my greatest blessings. They are my greatest teachers in life, and they gift me and they lift me just by existing, my babies. And so they're the reason that, from the outside, people say, oh, she's got such a good work ethic, she's got such good endurance, she's so, I've got all these good things going for me, but really I got that from my kids. It was during these years, these hard years as a single mother, that I gained my work ethic, because I wanted to give them everything that I possibly could. I waitressed, I did any job that I could, I worked all the shifts that I could so that I could provide for these babies. And they're my greatest inspirations. They inspire me every day. I mean, they're hoha, bloody they're hoha. But I'm so grateful for our babies. This is my husband, and I feel like I must have skipped the, hold up, whānau, I must have gone past the thing. I know. This is my husband, and fortunately for him, our love story wasn't over. 3 years later, I moved back to New Zealand, and we got back together, and so this is sort of where we've come back together. And one thing that is really inspiring for me is my husband. He was raised in violence. His discipline was getting a hiding and like a beating. And so when we got back together, I was a different woman. I came back and I wasn't going to be putting up with any crap. And I think the void that he felt in our absence was enough for him to know the healing that he needed to do to make us a family again. And I really have to acknowledge his healing, and I have to acknowledge his journey. He does things that are out of the societal and cultural norm of what a man should be like. He does counselling. He does the mahi, the internal mahi, not only for himself, but for our whānau, for our community, and I really need to acknowledge him. He always talks about how lucky he is to have me, and he is, but I have to say that I'm very lucky to be loved by him, and I'm very lucky to love him. To my beautiful cousin Jamie. I knew I was going to do this when I got to her, but This is my cousin Jamie Kaiwai. Thank you. And she's been missing for 3 years this October. 3 years without a trace. We'll never stop fighting for her. I actually wasn't going to talk about her tonight because it just makes me so pooty. But she deserves to be acknowledged. She deserves to be acknowledged tonight. She's been missing for 3 years this October, and luckily her investigation is ongoing into her disappearance, and me and my whānau will never stop searching for her, and we'll never stop fighting for her. But I was the last person that she ever called before she disappeared, and I missed that phone call. And I'll spend the rest of my life wondering if I had got that phone call, would it have changed anything? What did she need to say? And I'll never know. And so that's a part of my healing that is ongoing at the moment. But I've never been broken to my core or felt a pain so crippling as losing her. She's my first cousin, and we were raised like sisters at that same homestead, that same Kaiwai homestead. And I acknowledge her, and I ask you all to remember her name, and remember her face, because I honestly believe that she'll make a great change in this country one day. And so I want to acknowledge all of us here tonight who whatever your journey is on, whether it's a journey of hardship or a journey of loss, know that you're not alone, and know that you're not unseen. There's so many of us that, you might look on and think we're all doing well, but we all have our stories as well, and this is only some of mine. And a lot of the times people compliment me as someone that is self-made. I hear that a lot. Oh, you inspire me because you're self-made, but self-made is something that I could not be. I'm the furthest away from self-made that anyone could be, because I'm not self-made. I'm atua made. I'm tepuna made. I'm Ngāti made, and I'm Wairua led. And tonight, as I stand before you all, I'm merely a result of moments that have broke me, only for me to be reborn over and over again as a new version of myself. I'm merely a result of those who have walked before me and those who walk beside me in spirit. So to them I pay homage. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, huri noa tēnā tātou katoa. Thank you.
Just in this moment, please, I'd like us all to just hākina for a minute. Toru whā, breathe in. Hāputa e hoa mā. One more time, e hoa mā, hākina. Hāputa. That kōrero there, e hoa mā, would have hit us in many, many ways. Nā reire, te tuahine Jonique, tēnā rā wātu koe, nāu, I whāriki hia e rā kōrero āroha nei, ki mua I tēnei tira, ki mua I tēnei kāhui, tēnā paki mai anō ki tō tātou nei tuahine. Kia koe e Jamie, tēnā, e kore tātou e ware ki a koe e hine. Ka ora I tō māharahara I roto I a tātou, ao te pō te ao, tēnā koe e ko. Right, it does say prizes, but we're a little bit short on time, e te whānau, so we come up with this fabulous idea. This is the idea. When we all have this beautiful kai come out, we're going to go through those prizes then, ne? Are we all in agreement in there? Oh, ka pai, can we get a bit of a finger click in the air, whānau? All right. Kia ora. That means we go on to our next kaupapa here. E hoa mā, as you all well know, Kiino gets around to all these kaupapa, and it's an absolute privilege to stand and kawe kaupapa, it is. And through kawe kaupapa, I get to be a part of many of these kaupapa, and one in particular, I must say, is the one that is about to adorn us on this stage. This man here is a rangatira, e ai ki tētahi puka ko te kai o te rangatira. If you've got that book, he's in there, hoa ma. I was very proud when I saw your face there, hoa. I was like, oh, I need them, bro. O tira e hoa mā, ko tēnei tāngata, he has been helping our rangatahi and our hapori for a very long time. Another man who is passionate about, of course, the prosperity and the survival of our rangatahi. E hoa mā, I would like you all to give a warm te Matau a Māui welcome to Zach Makuare and his beautiful daughter, Matariki, coming up on stage to talk to us about their kaupapa, Te Tai Timu. Paki mai e hoa mā. Yeah, just like, you can have that mic.
Tēnei au hei rā, no tua whakarere, no te ira atua, tēnei au. As you heard, Māori ora kia tātou, as you heard Krystal introduce, this is my dad, Zach Makware from Te Taitamu Trust. My name is Matariki Makware, so mihi mai, kia ora! Kia ora! I'm hoping to win the Waiapu one, the prize. So I hope I'm still rangatahi, you know. Do I look rangatahi whānau? Oh, gee. Okay, I'm going to give it over to Dad, and then I'm going to introduce our services that we have here in Kaunganu, ne? Kapai. So here we go. Here's Dad. Hara mai e te kaumātua, hara mai e te rangatira, hara mai ki tō tātou nei papatū waiwai.
Oh, well, kia ora whānau. Just quickly, lovely to be here in this wonderful place at this time. A number of years ago, about 21 years ago, I lost a son to suicide on August the 14th. And that's why we started our kaupapa. But I just wanted to share with you a little story. And the two stories that I've heard tonight, very powerful. Especially our pronga hau whānau. You know, I used to go out there and play rugby in the old days. Nobody liked to go to Pronga because you had to play poho. It was dangerous. Dangerous to go out there. But our wahine here talking about her brother-in-law. I was there the day that at the school where we had to go to Hastings Boys. I was one of the kaimahi that had to work in that area for the Heratanga Tai Whenua. It was a sad moment for all those boys that I remembered that day where we had to pull them together. But anyway, I want to move on to some of the stuff that we want to share with you. And there's a lot of services in this, and we want you to come forward just to say just a little 5-second introductory of yourselves. But there's some wonderful people out there here in Kahungunu doing some wonderful stuff. I just want to mihi to you. And I'll get my daughter to call you up quickly, and you can give your service. Kia ora whānau.
Ka pai whānau. So if we have any reps from these organisations, please hara mai for like 5 seconds, ka pai. So we've got Te Tai Whenua o Here Taunga, Ignite Youth, the Development Hub, Awhina Trust, HYC, Lift, Connected, Tipu Ake Tonu, haramai, Pursuit, Te Tai Whenua ki ahuriri, Ropu A Iwi Trust, ka pai. Marae Nui EIT and Whare Tāpere. And of course Te Tai Tamu. Ka pai, rawe, beautiful. Oh, here we go. Sorry, so sweet, I might be doing your job. Just introduce yourself and a couple of things about your organisation. Oh, here's our beautiful Marae Nui whānau, haramai. Oh, and our tamatea whānau. Look at that, all here for you.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Tessa Williams aho. I work for Connected, which is a wayfinder for anything mahi study and training. So basically linking you with these awesome organisations and understanding that it's tough out there, it's tough to be young, it's tough to be not so young, it's tough all around. And so just here to help and support and navigate that.
Kia ora, I'm Tanisha. I'm that guy that wears lots of hats. So I currently work for the Hastings District Council, where one part of the role is what I'm here for tonight is the Mahi for Youth team, so helping rangatahi find sustainable mahi or tertiary education. The other part of my role was the youth coordinator out at Flaxman Community Centre, the Centre of the Universe guys. So running events and activities out there. I've swapped that role to be the kaiwhakahaere now. And the last part is I look after the youth council. So I've got a couple of my youth councillors here.
Tuia mai runga, tuia mai raro, tuia mai roto, tuia mai waho, tuia mai te herenga tangata, nā runga no i te kaipapa o te rā, o te pō, tēnā tātou katoa. Kia ora, my name is Nohorua Parata. I am one of 2 rangatahi advisors alongside my mate here, Matariki. We work at Te Whatiora, Te Matau Māui. Who knows what that organisation is? Anyone know who that is? Yep. Well, we were formerly known as the DHB, so don't blame me if you guys don't know us. So, kei te pai, it's all chaotic at the moment, what's happening in the sector, so don't worry, I'm just as confused as you are. But pretty much what I wanted to plug is that I'm just down the back there. We have a little survey going on at the moment, so come down the back there. If you've got a device, if you don't have it, or if you've got a device, just QR code scan that with your phone, or if you don't have a phone or any devices here, we've got some iPads down the back there to fill it out. So ka pai, just have your input in there. You go in the draw to win a $100 Kmart voucher. That's all I'm plugging today. Kia ora.
Harek to follow. Ngā mihi whānau. Ko wai au, ko Rebecca Clark taku ingoa. I work for Tipu Ake Tonu, which we've got a little space down the back there. I'm the Kaiarahi Pākahi for a wonderful small organisation that is growing at absolutely accelerated rate. I thought about tonight, what do we have here to offer rangatahi especially? And my one answer was really turning dreams into the future, because what we do is foster innovation. We draw upon your inherent DNA that comes from being a Māori, as innovators, as entrepreneurs, as people who find solutions, right? So what we do at Tipu Ake Tonu, I invite all of you, rangatahi, rangatira, for those of you that are looking for startup businesses and really creating wealth for your whānau. And one thing we do differently at Tipu Ake Tonu is we deliver business through a te ao Māori lens, which I know not every outfit around here does. It's a special way we do that. I invite you all to come and see us about cultural capability, about fostering innovation, and about bringing sort of awareness to who we are as Māori to stand up. Kia ora whānau.
Tēnā koutou te whare, ko Charlotte Tuavira ahau. I work at Te Tai Whenua o Here Taunga. We have a lot of services in general and for rangatahi. My role is the Tihai Rangatahi Coordinator for Here Taunga. There's 4 of us spread across Kahununu. And so our roles around engaging rangatahi in their health, trying to get their voice to implement changes in our health system. Kia ora.
Kia ora e tiwi, ko Princess Hokianga Tonahi toku ingoa. So I just started on a course with the Development Hub like last week, a couple of weeks ago, and on the Initiate Wahine program, and so I'm just here ripping them. My friend too.
Yeah. Kia ora, I'm Dion Hamagimo, and I also am a tauira at the Development Hub at the moment doing the Initiate Wahine program. Their programs are to help wahine mostly, but we also have online courses that are available to help do CVs, try and get people into work, and try and just uplift our wahine in struggling situations. And yeah, it's cool.
Here you go. Tēnā tātou, us three ladies, ko Taira tōku ingoa, ko Kathleen tēnei, ko Soai tēnei. We work for an organisation called Live Social Enterprise. Basically, our purpose is to help rangatahi reach their goals and aspirations and whatever that might mean for them. Whether it's in employment, business, want to get your life skills just rolling, then that's what we're here to support and hear your voice and take that into our organisation to tell them this is actually what the rangatahi want and the rangatahi need. We also run a 2 weeks life skills program. Anyone interested? We're starting on Monday, so 100 Emerson Street. Basically, the first week is more self-discovery, how our brain works, why we might not like this person, and okay, this is why, and how to mend that bridge. And then looking into the future in the second week on goals and aspirations. Yeah, kia ora.
Kia ora, my name is Josiah Penny Matthews. I'm from Here, There and Everywhere. I did not know that I was supposed to come up here and explain what we do. Cool, because I am shaking. So I work for Pursuit, and we run a digital platform called Nohi. So we also help with CVs, cover letters as well. We also have a TAMS program coming up for our rangatahi. So if you're keen to sign up, 6 weeks it is. Free kai. Everyone loves free kai, and also free rides. Yeah, I reckon. But yeah, that's everything from me. Thanks.
Well, this is last minute for me, but my name's Sade Manihira, and I'm with the Te Tai Timu Trust, and I've been with them for about 7 to 8 years now, and they've helped me build resilience and confidence in connecting with others throughout the years, and around suicide and water safety skills. I don't know what else to say, sorry.
Ka pai, Shade. Ka pai, tātou. Homai te piki paki paki. Okay, quickly, we're just going to have a quick game. Just a 2-minute game. So, taki tu, e tu. Oh, you rangatahi, I hear that. Okay, so right finger, your right index finger. Koroa up, koroa. This is koroa up. And your left palm out to your hoa. Your right finger down on your friend's palm. Ka pai. Okay, and I'm going to do takahia, takahia, takahia. When you hear me say he, you have to catch your friend's finger and you've got to escape from your other mate's finger, off your hand. Ka pai? So takahia will go to our right. Toru wha and takahia, takahia, takahia. You've got to move. Toru wha and takahia, 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 takahia. Hey! Oh. One more time. I need everyone to move. Toru wha and takahia, 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 takahia. Takahia, takahia. Hey! Tēnā tātou whānau.
You are the next up and coming, my girl. I love you. Ka pai tātai, tēnā paki mai kia Matariki and her beautiful papa, Zach Makuare. Tēnā kōrua. All right, that's never ever. When I see her now, I'm going to go, taka right? One of our Rangatahi Services mentioned Kai, and yes, Kai is coming up very shortly. Oh yes, woo, kia ora, yes, amene ki te Kai. Just before we do get a bit carried away with the Kai will be outside here and we will be entertained by none other by our Lucy. And we will also, in between that, waiata, also catch up on our prize giveaways, ne, ka pai tātou. But before we do get that, this kaupapa here, once again, like we were saying, is started on a whānau passion. And with every whānau, they're led by either a mum or a dad, by the matriarch or the patriarch of the whānau. Ne? But this one here, e te whānau, is all about the matriarch of the whānau. Nā reira, e hoa mā, it is my absolute honour and privilege to introduce te kaiwhakahaere matua o tēnei kaupapa. One big round of applause for Miss Tania Carr.
Ngā mihi nui kia koutou. To our manuhiri, thank you for being here, for choosing to be with us on a Saturday night. Man, those lights are bright, eh? Whoa. It's Saturday and you guys are here, and I'm a strong believer that if you're in the room, you are meant to hear our kōrero. So, in saying that, ki ngā kai kōrero, e whakapatai ana mātou katoa i a koutou. You all are planting seeds for our rangatahi, for our audience, for our next generation, and that's what our kaupapa is all about. You would have heard Kiino Krystal if you follow her on live, and she talked about our kaupapa, and ko te whainga o te kaupapa a real talk. Kia ora ai tō tātou tinana, kia ora ai tō tātou hiningaro, kia tau ai tō tātou wairua. To our kaimahi out there, I just want a big mihi to you all, because our events would not be as bougie as they are without your love and support. Ia rā i ngā wā katoa. So thank you. I love you all. Thank you so much. And a special mihi out to Te Puni Kōkiri. Again, they have supported our kaupapa so that we are able to bring the event to the scale that we have. So thank you for your support, and even a special mihi to Cassie, Teo and Shanae and Crystal too for holding my hand on this journey and just being there every step of the way and picking me up from the airport, driving me around and introducing me and connecting me with the services that, you know, we needed to get the rangatahi here. That's the problem. We've got the space. It's about getting the rangatahi here. And I'm so happy, he tino harikoa ahau, because, you know, we've got these young rangatahi in the audiences, but we've got our young Tania as well. And that's beautiful to see. So nau mai haere mai and ngā mihi nui kia koutou. So, you know Oprah? You know Oprah, I'm not Oprah, but... so, when our kaupapa started, because I grew up in a place called Cannons Creek. Oh, Cannons Creek, Porirua. Yeah, oh, Porirua in the house. And toko rima aku teina ko au te matamo. I've got 5 younger sisters, right? And we grew up in Cannons Creek. Our dad was in a gang, and there was a lot of violence. There was a lot of sexual abuse, physical abuse in our whānau, but not only in our whānau, but our neighbours. You know, we know what it's like. And I grew up wearing a mask because I didn't want anybody to know where I came from, you see. And so one time my sister, one of my younger sisters, she was studying social work, and she had this young Māori mums group, and she said, "Sis, can you come and talk to them about how they get out of their situation?" So I rock up and got my red lipstick and my high heels, and they all like look at me like, "Who the fuck is she?" And I'm like, whoa, like, you know, I'm like, hi, as if you know me, I'm like that. I'm like, hey. And then it clicked. people that look like me are from SIFs. People that look like me are WINS workers. So they were expecting me to give them a lecture about something. But then when I started, it was the first ever time I told my story, the first ever time I was vulnerable. And from that moment, when the words started coming out of my mouth, the tears started flowing. And then they were saying, Miss, can I tell my story too? Oh, and I knew from that moment the power of being vulnerable and not sweeping shit under the carpet. And that's how Real Talk was born. I knew there was something here, and so that's how the kaupapa came to light. And last year, you know, I've always wanted to write a book because everybody's so fancy, they're writing books, but who am I? Who am I to write a book? But I wrote a book, and in this book are 11 stories from some of the kai kōrero that travelled with us last year. We've got Pania Tepaiho in this puka puka as well, and she's on the stage this evening. We've got Grace, our photographer. She was one of our first rangatahi speakers in Porirua, so Grace is also in this book. And why I wrote the book is because we have these bougie events, and you guys hear these beautiful messages, and then you go home and you might be experiencing what I experienced when I was growing up. And when I was growing up, I used to live in books, you see, because it helped me drown out the noise. It helped me escape from the shit that was going on in my whare. So I used to live in books. So this is my koha to every rangatahi in the audience tonight. You know when I mentioned Oprah? Yeah. I'm the white Oprah. So you get a book. So on your way out to the whare kai, rangatahi, get yourself a book. But the kaimahi are standing there and they'll give you each a book. And for our Pākeke, if you want to read the book and you have a kore he utu, if you want a book and you can't afford to buy one, this is my koha to you too. So that's what we're all about, just supporting each other on this journey, and that's what Real Talk is all about. So nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Caught up with our prizes e whāma. Our next one, e karema, our next one is Poi, yeah, Pōtai. Ooh. Oh, one of those numbers, whānau, the Poi, yeah. See, those Pōtai, eh? They go with all the Māori get-ups, whānau. They do. And she looks, put it on again, Eve. Woo! Fabulous. All right, our next one, e whāma. What is the Real Talk NZ's entire name? Whakamutua. Finish it off. Real Talk. Ai, taiwa. Come here, babe. Yep. Come here, babe. Come here, young girl. Come here, girl. Hara mai, darling. Hara mai. So it's Real Talk. This is where we at, but we got to finish that off. Real Talk. Ready? Real Talk.
Real people, real stories.
Kia ora, babe. Paki mai, she just won herself a poi, yeah. Pōtai. Kia ora, darling. Ka pai. All right, we are going to invite the one and only Lucy back up on the stage. Ne, tēnā koe. Are you going to serenade us with that waiata or no? Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one.
That waiata.
Yes.
So, e te whānau, to win yourself the next prize, all right, the next prize, which is, just to double check, it is a nutrient rescue. A nutrient rescue, e wāma. To win yourself that prize, we would like to encourage and invite a rangatahi on stage to sing alongside Lucy. The waiata she is going to be singing is...
Why did everyone do that for?
She's not that scary, whānau.
Well,
You can use my mic.
I'm the nicest.
And her waiata is going to be...
Tia ho mai rā.
Tia ho mai rā. You know. All right, tia ho mai rā is our waiata. You will come on stage, take the mic off Kiino, and join Lucy and sing your little heart out with her, okay?
All by yourself. All by yourself.
All
if
by
you're
yourself.
confident enough.
Oh,
You can
Lucy's
give
sort
me a
of-
break and sing the song.
Who would like to take on the challenge?
You get a prize.
You get a prize. There is the prize there, a nutrient package. Kia kaha, kia maya, kia kaha, no mai piki mai ra. We
Come
might have to
on.
give it to Pakeke. Maybe they got some more balls now.
Okay.
Come on, rangatahi ma.
You don't have to sing the whole song. You can
No.
just sing the first like couple lines.
There you go.
And you get the prize. It's easy.
All right, come on, whānau. Calling, going once. Beautiful,
Yeah.
brother. Yes.
You only have to sing 2 lines and you get the prize, okay? All right. Or the whole thing, okay? Okay, ready? Okay, we got music. We got music. You ready? One more, ready? Ano. Give him the prize. Give him the prize. E kore te aroa, e ko whare noa, hoki mai ra ki au, e te tau. Hoki mai ra ki au, e te tau. Tia o mai ra, te whetū o te ata, kopu i te ao, pare aro i te pō, ka tū e a marama, hei a hara. Tū mai ra koe he tohu i au, tū mai ra koe he tohu i au.
Mauri ora kia koutou anō e hoa ma. Big round of applause once again for our Lucy Just Sings. Kia ora mai koe. And kia koe e te tungane. Big round of applause for our rangatahi who came up on stage and gave it a go e hoa ma. Tēnā anō koe e hika. All right, e hoa ma. Are we ready to get back into our kaupapa? Are we? Are we? Are we, whānau? All right, Taiho, let's try that again. Are we ready to get back into our kaupapa? Kia ora, tēnā koutou katoa. I hope you enjoyed your kai as well and that you're all full and, you know, got the old korokoro o mā kuku now. Nā reira e hoa mā kua tai te wā. Kia whakahoki atu te rākau ki ngā kai kōrero. We will now return to our kai kōrero. And we finished off with our kai kōrero from Waiapu. Okay, e hoa mā. Then, of course, we had our Rangatahi service. But we're very fortunate again because even though we are here in Te Matau mā, we are also uplifting and acknowledging our whānau all through the East Coast, e kare mā. And this beautiful sister hails from this fantastic place called Tiki Tiki, whānau. Tiki Tiki. I know a couple of sisters from there. Oti rā, this sister is going to be joining us and sharing her story with us because she has something to tell us. Nā reira, Constance Ready, no mai piki mai ki runga I te papatū waiwai. Paki mai ki tēnei tuahine a tātou.
Kia ora whānau. Let's just check and see. Kia ora. Where we are. Here we go.
Firstly, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who has come here tonight. Thank you all for journeying. If you did journey from wherever you came from, a big thank you to our Real Talk kaupapa and inviting me to come and be a part of this amazing space for our rangatahi. Ko hikarangi te maunga, ko waipu te awa, ko rauta te waka, ko rāhui toku koru marae, ko hine rupi toku kuia marae, ko Ngāti Parau te iwi, te whānau greener hau, ko Constance tōku ingoa. For those of you who may not know about my journey, I was born and raised in a religious cult, and it's more widely known as Glory Vale. Firstly, when I tell people about where I have come from, they always act really surprised. And they say, well, you never would have guessed because you seem really normal. And I really take that as a compliment because that really speaks to the journey that the last 6 years have been for me and how far I've come along that journey. I'm the baby in this photo, and this is my eldest sister, Virginia. All stories start from the beginning. And to give you the full picture, we have to start at the beginning. We all start life the same way, as a child, and we all have that carefree innocence. We are authentically ourselves, and we're not yet conditioned to society's expectations. I'm the smallest one in this photo. These were some of my elder siblings at the time, not all of them are in there. That's me, the littlest one with the frizzy hair. As a child, we are sheltered from the gravity of the world, and in contrast to it, our eyes are so bright with hope for the future. As I was born and became a child and didn't really realise the environment that I was born into and was being raised in. It was only as I began to get older and I noticed the environment shifting and the things changing around me, I really tried to cling on to a familiar space, something to me that felt home and normal and natural. And this was the ngāhere for me. As young as 7, I would randomly disappear into the ngāhere and I would wander for hours in there, listening to the bubbling of the streams, the kōrero of the manu. And for me, it was a really safe space, and I was really desperate to cling onto that space as I felt the environment around me shifting. I felt home, I felt safe, and it was only many years later that I understood why the ngāhere for me felt so safe and felt so home. By the time I was 15, I was completely submerged into the cult life and practices. My average mornings began between 5 and 6 a.m. I was either doing kitchen, laundry or cleaning duties, and then after that I would attend a full day of school and then back into communal duties afterwards. I had no idea what free time was or actually how to relax and do nothing on the rare occasions that I had free time. Being a woman in this cult was nothing but a curse. You were indoctrinated into the system from birth, and from as young as 6, you would begin with small responsibilities like preparing the dining hall tables for dinner or helping peel 100 onions for the next meal. 6 was also the age that you began to wear a head covering. Breakfast and dinner are communal meals, and they are held in a main hall with everyone. We would sit and listen to biblical teachings at every meal, and the Bible was only open to exclusive leadership interpretation. Women were not allowed to speak on such matters, disagree, or even voice their own opinion. It was really bad to have an opinion as a woman. Those seen to do these things, to raise questions, were perceived as ungodly sinners and in need of repentance, and that they were unwilling to submit to the leadership. This is me in the middle. My younger brother David and my younger sister Joyful. David has now thankfully left the cult and he's not a part of that. He's raising his own beautiful whānau down in the South Island, but unfortunately my beautiful sister Joyful is still trapped there. As a young woman, I was very aware of the expectations on me and how I would be perceived, as well as the characteristics I was supposed to portray to prove that I indeed was a godly woman. I was being trained, and not subtly at all, that my place was to work hard, without complaint, go, do, and be wherever I was told, to fully submit myself to the law of the leadership, and that one day I would be rewarded with a husband whom I would obey without question, and whose children I would carry and birth, as many as God would bless us with, since all and every form of birth control was strictly prohibited on pain of hellfire for murder. This is all my life was. This is all I thought it would be. This is all I could hope for. Gloriavale, in essence, teaches that the church is above all, even family units, meaning that if a family member chose to leave, all ties would be cut, all pictures destroyed, and no memory ever spoken of again. Communal holding of all money, so no one has or is allowed their own personal putia. Women are to be dressed modestly, cover their heads as a sign of submission to the men and elders. There's no such thing as mental health issues. You're just told to pray and have faith and maybe fast if this persists. There's no salvation without baptism. There's no sex before marriage. Although, if you, as a woman, are sexually assaulted, abused, or raped, you will be blamed. We are taught that men have these just natural desires and they can't control them, but a woman can. So, if anything happens, it must have been the woman's fault. She must have been flirting or encouraging sexual advances. There's also no smoking, coffee, or alcohol, not even tea. No alcohol, but we did make our own home brew, which seems hilarious to me because, bro, that's alcohol. But it was supposed to be non-alcoholic, but I know for anyone here who's tasted home brew, that stuff's potent as fuck. This male authoritarian culture breeds nothing but harm, and being young, pretty, and brown only black-marked me. My character was already decided for me because I was young, pretty, and brown. As a loose, flirtatious girl wanting to sleep with any man that looked at me, and this suited them well, because if I did reach out for help, I was immediately silenced and publicly shamed. As everyone already knew that this is the type of girl I was. I've experienced stalking, sexual assault, sexual harassment, and abuse, all within a culture claiming Christianity. Not even my parents being able to protect me from environments that I expressed how unsafe they made me feel. Constantly afraid, while forced to appear happy, struggling with the weight of suppressed emotions. Thoughts of unaliving myself with me always, but terrified of the hellfires I'd been taught would await such an action. I wanted so many things to change, so many things to be different, yet I was powerless to do anything. And you will have to excuse this part because I most definitely will cry. This is my beautiful little sister on the left, our little karakia. It was within this warped, twisted system that my beautiful baby sister, the Pōtakia of our whānau, was born. Prayer she was named, as truly she was a karakia come to life. She was all joy and light. And her passing was the catalyst that eventually led to my own escape. My sister was born with Down syndrome and was bullied from a very young age for her looks and the way she spoke due to her hearing impediment. She was denied medical attention, she was denied specialist teaching, and was all but thrown aside by my society as an uncomfortable burden.
This is my mama with her shortly before her passing. She passed away tragically choking to death in a room where the pin for the door handles had been removed by an elder, and the precious minutes lost as emergency help tried to scramble in through a window. Her funeral was attended by all 500 plus members, and our whānau was denied the opportunity to grieve her in our way. No beautiful tangi was held, no emotions other than happiness at her being in heaven expressed. All of it grinding away at my heart, threatening to explode. And this is when I began to question everything. I began to question why God would allow such an innocent life to be taken so soon. Why would the leadership prohibit us as a whānau from grieving the loss of our sister? Why did they all pretend she was so loved and valued when she'd been treated as nothing but less than? And why did I remain loyal to a system that had shown her such disrespect? Why had I not done more to protect her and give her the quality of life that she deserved? Emotions waging war within me, questions filling my mind unanswered, I returned to the one place I felt solace, the Ngāhere. Climbing through the trees to a hill where I could feel the breath of the wind, I screamed out to God to make it all better, to make me fit in, to make me feel happy again, to feel safe and wanted and loved and protected. I cried out to the God I'd been taught to call out to, but I heard nothing from him. And yet standing amongst those trees and feeling the wind around me, I felt connected to something that I didn't understand, as though nature around me understood my pain, saw my tears, held space with me, made me feel as though what I was experiencing was not at all something I should be ashamed to express. And it was as though the voices I'd kept silent inside me, I finally heard, the voices I know now to be those of my tipuna, who had always been with me, saying, "We stand with you, and your pain is our pain. We see you, we hear you. Be bold and have courage, for you have been through so much, but you will go through much more." Excuse me. And so late one night, after an emotionally draining meeting with several of the elders, of which there had been many in the year following my sister's passing, all with the aim to convince me to move on, to forgive those responsible for their negligence in regards to the door handle pin. Undoubtedly, I'd get very upset. I loved my sister and I missed her terribly. I blamed myself for not doing more, and I was appalled at their lack of accountability, their smirking faces taunting me with, "No need to get carried away like a Māori woman." That was it for me. It broke something inside me, and for the first time in my existence, after years of racial insults and abuse, I stood up to them, stood up to these men instead of remaining quiet and calm. "What do you want me to do?" I shouted at them. "Even if you drain the blood from my body, it would not make me less Māori." A term I did not even understand in its fullness, only that it made me different and less. I knew that one moment more in this place was no longer an option. All trust and respect gone for these men. I knew now that if I continued to wear this mask, I too would become it. My plan was simple enough. I would steal a bicycle and cycle to the nearest farm, 20k or so further up the valley, to a farmer I knew had helped other people. My immediate thoughts went to my mama and how worried she would be in the morning when I was nowhere to be found. I took my plan to my best friend at the time, asking her that she pass on to my mum the knowledge of my whereabouts, and it was her idea that we try and find a car to steal instead. Since she'd been allowed to learn to drive, something I did not know myself. Keys for all community vehicles, though, are all collected each night and locked away in an office. so I was not very hopeful there would be one we could use. But we were in luck that night, as the founding elder's car was personally owned by him and the keys not removed. We stole his car and we managed to make it past the nightly gate watch all the way to safety. To conceal my whereabouts and her involvement in my escape, my friend returned with the car. But relieved and excited and anxious, hardly sleeping that night, knowing that my path was forever changed. The next 6 months were a process of getting things necessary to live in this outside world: ID, bank accounts, closing my community one that I'd never had access to, and opening one that I had full access to. Moving to the North Island to live with one of my mum's sisters, who I'd met at my sister's passing. Finally getting my learner's license, which was a big whoop for me. But amongst all the new and the excitement and the change, I was deeply grieving the loss of my family and friends and the familiarity of the world I had known. I'd grown up sharing a room with all my siblings and parents and was now all alone in one. Sitting alone in darkness and crying. I was living with whānau now, but I didn't know them, and sadly, because of everything I'd previously lived through, I didn't trust them. I knew how much it hurt them to see this, and I know they genuinely loved and cared for me. I just didn't know what to do, and I felt so lost. It was at this time that I met the father of my children, a tall, brown Samoan, and his large family who were very devoted to their church. It was such a familiar feeling. I knew how to act in this large family, churchy environment. I knew how to fit in, and it reminded me of all that I was grieving the loss of, and I unknowingly stepped right back into a parallel existence of the one I had just left. Over the next 2 years, I had married that tall brown Samoan and welcomed 2 precious souls into this world. I attended church every week and was a part of the band and also a Sunday school teacher, the perfect church wifey. The mask I'd vowed never to wear again, I had once again found a place across my face. And the toxic, abusive environment I promised I'd never bring children into, I was now raising my own. Again, I was loyal to relationships and to an environment that were holding me back and that were hurting me emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. None of which I believe were intentional, nor do I blame anyone. These were things I was allowing. These were things I was responsible for changing. These are my 2 beautiful little boys, Ronan and Remalaya. My biggest reason for healing, my biggest reason for creating change, my biggest reason for moving forward and creating something better for them. So what starts the change? What moment takes place when your mind just clicks? For me, it was taking radical responsibility for my life. I was allowing myself to be disrespected in this way. I was allowing my voice to be silenced, but no more. I realized that I needed to be the change I wanted to see, that I alone was responsible for my happiness and for my healing, and only I could decide how best to do that. I made the decision, and not an easy one, to separate from my husband, who at the time was in Samoa stranded due to COVID, which made the decision even harder. I'd been financially supporting him for almost a year, on top of my own bills, rent, and full-time care of our 2 boys, aged 1 and 5 months old at the time. With very little support and no financial support, the toll had become too high for me to continue to pay. It was now time to focus on myself, to give back what I gave so readily to others, my time and my energy. Because yes, I had been shaped by the things I had experienced, but they did not define me. They did not define who I was or what I was capable of becoming. I am so much more than my pain. And the only way I saw for me to grow and become the person that I wanted to be was to take off all the masks, to peel back all the protective layers, to bravely face that woman in the mirror and acknowledge her, forgive her, love her, thank her, for she had carried me through so much, and it was now time for her to transform. I began a journey home to myself, to the true me, the authentic me, unashamed to be myself in every way. I accepted myself for all I was and all I was not, and I stopped feeling responsible for others' perceptions of me. I began to live instead of survive. I dug into my culture, our culture, reclaiming that space, started using reo kupu in my whare, began connecting with my whānau, discovering my whakapapa and roots. I journeyed home for the first time to the East Coast and stood on my whenua, was welcomed onto my maraes, and as the voices of my tipuna called out to me, welcoming me home, they said, "You are finally here." I felt their mauri and their wairoa surround me, and it struck a match that ignited a fire in my belly. I knew where I belonged. I knew that I walked in the strength of those who had gone before me, who I now realised had always been with me. And it all made sense why the Ngāhere was my solace, and in the arms of Tāwhare Mātea, I'd felt safe enough to express it all. This hikoi, I hope, will never be over. I hope there will always be more to heal. This is my beautiful Nana. She was celebrating her 90th last year. More to learn, more ways to grow, more of myself to uncover. And it does not happen in a day, a month, or even a year. It takes constant commitment to change, growth and healing, as well as compassion and love, that we are only human and we won't always have it all together. E kore au I ngaro, I kakanoa hau, I ruia mai I rangiatea. I can never be lost. I am a seed sown in the heavens. It doesn't matter where we've come from or what we've experienced in this life. We are still all that our tipuna dreamed of. Thank you.
That was powerful in more ways than one, e hoa ma. Au e taukiri e paki mai anō ki tēnei tuahine o tātou. E hoa ma, we do, I want to relate this pātai for our next prize in relation to her kōrero. Out of that kōrero, it hit a lot of spaces there, and it hit a lot of kare āroto e hoa ma. But one of the best things that came out of there, that she had a safe space, and a beautiful safe space, that a lot of us experience it, and we go there ourselves. If it's not the one, it's something else. So our prize that we're giving away in relation to our Constance kōrero is a big shout out, first of all, to, of course, Lash Fridays and Antipods. Tēnā koe Eve. To the rangatahi that can tell us where was Constance safe place. Tēnā kōrero mai. Ka pai, hara mai. You in the back, you put your hand up. Ai. Kao. Hara mai. Tēnā koe te tuahine. Karanga mai, just from where you are, where was Constance safe space? Ngāhere. Tēnā koe paki mai. Tēnā koe tuahine. We do have another one to give away. E hoa ma. Ka pai, and that is our whenua whānau pēpi kākahu. Talking about our pepe e hoa ma, we just got to give you a little bit of a heads up, e kare ma. We are running a little bit over time. So to all of our mama and papa out there, if you have your babysitters organised, we understand if you need to leave and go, but bring them back in. We're just letting you know that kei te pai. If you need to, wehe atu, ne, ka pai. We will be running over just a little bit over time. We have 2 more kai kōrero to get through and a few more prizes. And isn't that cute? Isn't that cute? Kia ora. So, to someone out there in the whānau, especially if you've got babies, please translate boy and girl into te reo Māori. Boy and girl, I roto I te reo Māori. Hara mai. Oh, anei, tēnei. Oh, who's getting up here? Hara mai, ka pai, babe. Tēnā. Whaka Māori mai, boy and girl.
Kōtiro o tama.
Kōtiro and tama, tēnā koe. Ka pai, darling. Well, I must say, our next kai kōrero coming up is part of the Real Talk whānau. She's been part of it pretty much since the beginning. But I can't stop thinking about you, Constance. Where are you, kare girl? You're over here, girl. I tell you what, you're an inspiring woman, e hoa. Inspiring. Nā reira, ka nui rā te mihi kia koe. Honestly. Not many Māori in this room will experience an upbringing that you've had, and to share that story with us, e hoa, took a lot of ihi, wehi, and wana, and girl, you are born of that. Like our sister said over there, you are atua made. Kia maumahara tātou ki tērā. All right, okay, whānau, just trying to get out of that whānau. Nā reira, ko tā tātou kai kōrero e whai ake nei. Well, I must say, I didn't know from her on the Real Talk kōrero. I knew her by following her on Instagram. And I'm sure a lot of us followed her on Instagram because, man, I thought, wow, this chick is like hearty. Man, she must be from Kahungunu. But I must say, this was a wahine where I was like, man, she's fearless. She is in there. You know, she does things that, oh, girl, I hated as a kid, but my sister will get down with you sis hard. Otira, if you don't follow her, you need to follow her, okay? She is a wahine toa, hunting like that. What? She knows how to load up a rifle and just go boom, in there. But anyway, she's going to go boom and blow us away with her kōrero. Big round of applause, e huama, for the one, the only, Pania. O te ngahere. Tēnā koe te tuihine.
Kia ora whānau. So I just want to be honest. I had like a full kōrero plan, and then I was like, no, fuck it. And then I changed it halfway through, and then I didn't write it down. And then I started writing it down, and now I look like I've got prison tattoos, so my bad. Can I have that clicky thing, please? Which way is it? This way. I should know by now. I do this all the bloody time, but I haven't learned nothing, have I? All right, So I grew up in Pōrero. People think I grew up in the bush swinging from vines or some shit. No, I grew up in the hood. And it was a pretty hearty upbringing, to be fair. When I was in third form, we found my dad. He killed himself. And that was probably the hardest day of my life ever. But then progressing from there, so I started, just being a little shit, really. I didn't know how to deal with my grief. I still don't even really to this day. My mum kicked me out, made me homeless. And where is Grace? Where's my cousin Grace? Come here, please. So I'm kahununu. Come here. So I'm kahununu ki te Wairoa. So when I rep this, people think it's West Side, but it's Wairoa. Apart from when I'm in Wairoa, we rep this. Nah, jokes. So, but we do though. Okay, so when I was made homeless, this beautiful lady here, her beautiful whānau Ngāti Porou, this is why I rep for you fellas, Hundies. They took me in and they showed me how to love, how to process my grief, and they just showed me how, they just modi ki te modi, really. They just allowed me in this space. And if it wasn't for your whānau, bro, I don't know where I'd be today, really. So I love you. Okay, you can get off now. Anyway, but in those streets, that's where I learned a lot of life lessons that at the time I hated, but I took a lot of lumps for the greater good. I'll get into that later. Oh, you're tough. All right. So, Wayne to hunting. Oh, hell. I was in Winds with my cousin, and I was her advocate, because I'm real quiet and shy. Nah, but when I was in there, I looked around, and every woman in there was Māori. Tangata whenua. Whare tangata in there asking for a handout. Their own whenua. We have pātaka out there, probably not me, Pania, because I probably might not come back. But we got the bush, we got the mara, we've got all of it. What we didn't have is the knowledge, the kete being filled and passed on. And they know I want to be in Winds. What made it even harder for me is that her mate come up to us and she asked for a food grant and got turned down. So not only did she not want to fucking be there in the first place, her mana got stomped on and she's leaving hungry. Bruh. And I'm sitting there going, nah, Kill, this ain't on. Because luckily I have been given the gift of learning how to live off the land. I didn't really think it was that great a gift, so I realised that I will never go hungry, my kids will never go hungry. Mane moto haki and tino rangatiratanga was one of the greatest gifts I was ever given. And therefore, I am obligated to pass it on to my people, because what good is knowledge if you hold on to it and it dies with you? So I ended up putting out a video. I was like, fuck it, I'll just teach some people, you know? Let's just get this ball going. My waiting list is now at 4,000 plus. Every day, women still message me to take them out and reconnect them back. See, waiting tour hunting is not just for Māori. We're all going through it, whānau. There's no money in New Zealand. It's hard as hell. The cost of living's through the bloody roof, and our pay is down on the bloody ground. Bloody no one can get a bloody house. Sorry, I swear heaps. But this is the thing. It's for everybody, but when I take wahine Māori, it hits me different, because it's so much more than just filling our freezers. Who knows about land shares? Anybody? When you have land shares, then you could have 30 acres, right? Then you have 0.00% of a freaking percentage of a share. 10,000 people could have bloody say in that piece of land. And you know what happens? Nothing. Nothing happens to that land, because how are you going to get 10,000 people to agree with it? They're disconnected. We are disconnected on purpose. We are urbanized on purpose. This is on purpose. This is all by design. See, the thing for me where I worry more than anything, yes, the housing crisis is everything. But we always go on about Māoris were once warriors. Do you know what the biggest fear for me is? If we end up once we're tangata whenua. Because what is tangata whenua without the whenua? Lost, disconnected. If we think we're bad now, bro. So the biggest payment for me, because waiting tour hunting is for free. I don't want our people's money. Fuck that. I don't want our people's money. The payback for me is when the women I teach reconnect their kids to the whenua, and then they reconnect their kids to the whenua, because every generation has to keep reconnecting back to the whenua. They have to learn kaitiakitanga. This is our whenua, because the Pākehā have never stopped coming for our land the minute they got off that boat, and they will never stop. Okay, I'll calm down my activism now. Okay. It's just me being cool. Chair parikura. Right. Gonna get a bit serious now. About 3 years ago, well, kids have always gravitated to me, and I've always been their auntie, you know, all the neighbourhood people, and obviously my nieces and nephews. A lot of them come to me in not good states, whānau, not good states. And this was about 3 years ago. I couldn't get them help. And when they start talking, sometimes that's your last fucking time you can help them. And I couldn't get them fucking help anywhere. Because they couldn't, you know, you don't live in the zone. Or we don't have any funding. Oh, nah, too bad. Too bad. This kid don't want to fucking be here, and you're telling them too bad they don't live in the zone. Every day my inbox was just getting filled up with these mamais and stories with these kids that just wanted some help. So I asked my sister, who knows Nicola Adams? Oh, yeah, she's tough as a. And Koe East. I was like, can you help me? We're going to do a hikoi, because everyone's listening to us. It's time for us to get into Parliament, give them the microphone and let them speak. Everyone listens to us. Let them speak, because our babies are yelling at brick walls and it's costing them their fucking lives. Over 10,000 people RSVP'd to this hikoi. About 2,000 people turned up. I made sure to have it on a school day, because I wanted to make sure that they saw these kids in their school uniforms, because they're kids. They're our babies. We get so complacent with numbers, 10,000, 1,000, but you know what? Start naming names. Oriwia, Takanui, Parekura. That's when it hits. I told everyone, bring your photos of your babies that have been failed. Bring them. Put those photos on the steps of Parliament and make sure they see their faces. I didn't really have a plan, because I'm not really a plan person. But I knew once we got there, we'll be all right. Just hand the microphone over. But then I had a bit of a thought, like, shit, this is a Handi's kaupapa. What if these babies can't speak from they're broken, you know? Fuck, I was wrong. Kid after kid after kid got up. One kid at the time she was 14. When she was 10, she was walking to school with her best friend. She was dead. And her best friend jumped in front of a train and killed herself right in front of this kid. This was 4 years later, and that kid still hadn't got counselling for that moment. Oh, never mind that. Because of that hikoi, they ended up pushing mental health funding to the lower North Island for young men, and then they went on to do the mental health bill and bring in all the money. I was going to go off on another kaupapa, but I'm going to stay on this one tonight, whānau, so I'm not going to go through all the rest of those photos. My bad. So now we are 3 years after this, right? $88 million has been pumped through that system. And more than ever, there are babies in my inbox coming to my house, cutting themselves. People, they're sending me photos of their ropes. One night I had 4 kids in my inbox. It started with 2 that were cutting that didn't want to cut. This was only like 2 weeks ago. And then it got to 3 o'clock in the morning, and then there were 2 different ones. So I'm dealing with 4 who want to fucking kill themselves. This problem is not going away. So what do? That's $1 million question. I've written it down my hand, so that's okay. It's up to us. Our babies, we need to change the perception of our babies. They are not our problems. Can we stop fucking saying that? They are our taonga. Can we stop talking at our babies and just let them speak? They already have the answers. They have the answers if we were willing to shut up and listen to them for 10 minutes. I know, in the inbox doing the messages, it's doing all right, but it's not doing it properly. So we decided, I've got together with Wharaikawa and one of my beautiful friends, Tiff, and we're going to start doing programs over at Kapiti Island for all the kids in my inbox, Māori ki te Māori. But I ask you, as adults, if you know that there's a whānau and they're not right, something's off, be that auntie and be that uncle and say to them, open that kōrero up and just offer them an ear, bro, because it could save their lives. Just be that. Don't judge them. And if you look at your kid and the kid is tired sitting on the couch, don't be like, oh, you lazy hua. Bro, that kid could have suicidal depression. It's just about empathy, whānau. Anyway, that's my real talk. Mauri ora.
No, you're right. Oh. Give our sister another round of applause for being just raw. Raw and real. Raw and real, whānau. When I say raw, you say real. Raw. Real. Tēnā koe, sister. She has brought up some very important issues there, e Hoama, and I just want to add on to that. We need to get our whānau back into a bit of spirituality. Spirituality will help our people. And I don't mean, you don't have to just do a karaki or anything. It could be anything. Like what our sister Constance does. She goes into the ngahere. That's spirituality. Ne? Some of us go out to the moana. Some of us go to our maunga. Some of us go into the garden. That's all spiritual work, whānau. We need to encourage our tamariki, our whānau, and make it a kotahitanga around there. Just want to add on to that, sister. Otira, I tell you, I think we have to have another hakina. Well, I do. All right, toru, wha, hakina. Haputa. One more time, whānau. Hakina. Haputa. Coming into this kaupapa e Hoama, I am excited, on the kennel buzz. But every time these kai kōrero get up, I tell you, the power of our kupu. That's why our rangatira and our tipuna said, ko te kai o te tangata o te rangatira, he kōrero. He kōrero, he kōrero. All right, whānau, just to sort of get some little happy vibes going. We're going to give out a little prize, okay? I'm going to invite our next kai kōrero on after that. All right. So our next prize is this beautiful swan-dry blanket. All right. E noho kai, so you put their hands up, eh? What? O te rai hoa ma, our pātai is around our beautiful sister here, Pania, ne, ka pai. Whew, that was a massive kaupapa. A massive kaupapa. A kaupapa that she led so that all of our whānau and all of their kāwanatanga can see these faces. She mentioned a couple of numbers. How many RSVPs did she get in interest to this kaupapa? Karanga mai, my darling. 10,000 RSVPs. Tēnā koe. Easy. Paki paki mai e wama. See, our rangatahi do listen, eh? We need to listen to them now. Right. All right. Oh, do you give her another round of applause, whānau? Woo! Anō nei te ātāhua, anō nei te mana wahine, he wahine toa tēnei. And she is leading a kaupapa that is beyond a self-purpose thing. It's about passion. Tēnā koe, sister. Oh, gee, it's all useless. It's just, it doesn't want to get off you. What's it? Okay. Anyway, te whānau, we're trying to get there. There it is. Oops. Who's this handsome devil? All right. E te whānau, once again, just been a little bit of a local. You sort of catch up with these brothers and sisters along the way. But I had the pleasure of meeting this young man during his te reo journey. And that was at EIT. And I tell you what, knowing him from that moment there and the little things we used to get up to, ne? To see him where he's at now, the mum's going, huh? What's going on? You don't tell me about this? What? Nah, it's not like that for Oh, she did say, I heard that too. O tira, this is not a dating service, it's real talk. Anyway, te whānau, what I'd like to say is to see this guy from the time I met him at EIT, and that was around about 6 years ago. Yep, about 6 years ago, to see him where he is today. I look forward for him to giving us the details around his journey and why he has chosen his path today. Nā reira, e hoa mā, piki paki paki, for the one, the only, Dallas Adams.
Kia ora koutou. Man, I've got some big shoes to fill. There's like all these amazing wahine toa who have stood before me, and there's one more after me who's going to wrap it up. But it's a privilege and an honour to stand right here to share my kōrero, my testimony, my story, my truth, which has got me where I'm at today. So before I carry on, I actually just want to do another karakia, because that's one of my callings in this life, in this rebirth. So if you can just bow your heads, te karakia o te atua, e tō mātou matu i te rangi, kia tapu tō ingoa, kia tai mai tō rangatiratanga, kia miti e tau e pai ai ki runga ki te whenua, kia rite anō ki tō te rangi, homai kia mātou aia nei, he taro mā mātou mō tēnei rā. Murua o mātou hara me mātou hoki e muru nei, i o te hunga e harana ki a mātou. Aua hoki mātou e kawea kia whakawaia, engari whakaorangia mātou e te kino. Nau hoki te rangatiratanga, te kaha me te kororia. Āke, 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 āmini. Kia ora. So, this is at the beginning of my life. So, to my right is my dad, my amazing father, Edward Adams. That's where I was happy at the time. I always had the aroha me from my parents. They gave the best that they could possibly could. It was challenging at the time, but they always had our backs. They always made sure we were fed our pukus were full and just having all the basics in our lives. So just want to pay my respects to Dad. And then over here is me and my brother, Iruira Adams. Him and I, we were brought up together. It was only us two during my childhood. We were brothers. I always loved fighting and beating each other up because that's how we do it, and who's the toughest and all that kind of stuff. But it got us into trouble, and then our parents will go, cut it out, or you get a crack too. So I was like, oh. But no, I didn't listen. I always wanted to push my limits, and it's taught me a lot. I'm not ashamed to say it. It taught me how to become a man and how to be respectful right now. This photo here is my 5th birthday. I remember this moment in my childhood as I felt the aroha a lot, actually, because it was my first big birthday that I could remember at that age. A lot of people who I didn't really know, but I knew all my whānau were there, my extended whānau, and I just knew that there was a lot of aroha around me because it was my birthday. So it was all about me. But yeah, that was my happy moment before shit hit the fan, pretty much. So that's me again, and that's my sibling, my brother, Iru, and me. So what you see here, it was a mask. It was a time where I was actually going through a lot of sexual abuse during my childhood years, and that started from the age of 5 and carried on all the way up to 10, 11, and it was ongoing. At that moment in time, it basically killed me on the inside. So I felt like I wasn't myself. I couldn't function. I couldn't be that typical happy child who didn't get touched or who didn't go through sexual abuse. I had to go through all of that trauma, all of those challenges and barriers to get by in life and just to live another day. So at that age, I was actually learning how to survive from within, because it was hurting me, because I didn't know what was going on. So those were happy moments, but deep down I knew it was hurting me, and my whānau didn't even know. That's the thing about it. All these abuses that go on today, even, they try and sweep it under the carpet and all that kind of stuff. Well, I know my calling now is to bring awareness to sexual abuse, and that it's not a shame. You shouldn't be ashamed of speaking about it, of just basically being that hope in someone's lives who are going through it right now. If they hear about people talking about it, it's going to give them courage to actually share, because I didn't share this abuse until I was in my teen years. Yeah, so that's one of my callings that I'm proud to do in my life right now. And you're probably going, why is there a few photos of my old man? Well, that's because he suddenly passed in 2014. And it was pretty tragic, because he went out and go and get some kaimoana, and he couldn't come back. He drowned, and we couldn't find him. They had the helicopters and everything, the police diving squad, looking for him. When we found him, 24 hours. So when they found him, I was happy because I could grieve properly, so I just want to mihi atu kia koe, Johnny, because I know what it feels like to know not, you know, I just want my loved one back, I just want my whānau back, I want my sister, my brother, my dad. And I had that opportunity, and it's not a nice feeling. So when the old man was found by the amazing rescue team, that's when my healing journey pretty much started. When they put the lid on him, you know, on the final day, I gave Dad a hongi, and I just said to him, no one else heard, it was just me and him, I just said, Dad, I'm going to make you proud. And then that's when the lid went back on. And I'm proud to say that I am making him proud today. So, yeah, Dad, love you heaps. And thank you for watching over me and my whānau and everyone else. But today I stand with my beautiful whānau who are alive, and I'm so blessed for them to be here right now. I have my beautiful mother, Maria Ngāti and my niece, who's pretending to be an aeroplane. Is it? Nah. Paige Adams, and my brother in the middle, he's the youngest in our whānau, Tamahida. He's at his ball for Linda's farm. But I just want to pay my respects to my family right now. Can you please come up, Mum? Paige, come on. You're not going to say anything, just come up. Nah. Come here, Mum. Just want to... Come here, you two. I just want to say I love you both for being there in this moment of my life. To, you know, especially you, Paige. When you were a baby, when I first saw you, you were beautiful, and you know, you pretty much made me go, okay, I need to get my shit together, because this is our next generation who are going to do well in life. And it was a privilege and an honour to help raise you with Mum, Joe, Iru, Dale, all of them. And you shared your kōrero about koro when you did your essay, and that made me cry. So my niece over here did an essay on koro, and oh man, it just made me, I couldn't stop crying. And then to my mum over here, she's hard to use, she's 59 years old, but she still plays rugby. But, so she plays for Hastings HRS, and she's been a veteran for them for, I don't know, since we were young. But she's awesome. She's a part of who I am too. She's wahine toys, don't put up with anyone's bullshit. She's real. So, yeah, get off now. Just want to say thank you, Mum. Love you. Oh, this fellow over here was a hearty stoner who always had the munchies, who just didn't care. So, what's a push-up? Nah, stuff that. I'd rather have a feed. So, you probably know, most of you, that I am part of F45 Training Hastings, Aotearoa, which was founded in 2018, April, May 2018. This journey helped change me. It helped change me in the whare tapawha, which is taha tinana, taha hinengaro, taha wairua, taha whānau. It was a whole package. It made me who I am. I didn't do this type of training to look good on the outside. I did it because I was healing and I wanted to do it on the inside. So I have to pay acknowledgement to E45 Hastings, to the owners, Ryan and Rachel Tongia. They gave me heaps of growling, so I didn't care because they helped me who I am today, because they're now real too. So they helped me become real. And I just want to say thank you both, and the staff, the members, everyone who's involved at this place. This place made me become the most kept member in New Zealand, over 1,600 classes completed. I'm just like, what the F, you know? It's like, I never thought I'd be like that. I never thought I'd be so consistent in looking after myself. And it's actually rubbed off on everyone in the community, and now I'm getting messages everywhere just to help them in their journeys with health and fitness. So yeah, that's where I'm at today. This part here is when I did my first ever marathon at the Great Wall of China. This moment was pretty awesome. I did it with my mum. Me and her went over with an awesome group called Influence Crew, founded by Doug Healy. He's the man. So he brought us together to do this, to complete this marathon. I don't think I'll do that ever again because it was sore as I couldn't even close to the finish line. Yeah, I pretty much wanted to just collapse because it was real hot out there. But just the atmosphere itself, it was amazing. So yeah, go and see the world, whānau. You know, we only got one life. Yeah, we got pandemics and stuff, but we can do it. Just go and do it. This photo here was taken at Te Uranga Waka, Te Ahoa Māui, EIT. That's where I first started my governance, thanks to myself being elected the student president at EIT. That kind of got my foot in the door to work in student politics, but now I'm in the health sector, so I'm actually helping in that space today. My current mahi, my job is a health coach at the Hastings Health Centre, employed by Health Hawke's, and what my role is, I actually help people with lifestyle changes such as exercise, nutrition, mental health, long-term conditions. And it's a service that's actually available, like there's no barriers, it's free. There's a self-referral, so you can do it, your referral yourself. You just ring up the Hastings Health Centre and they'll help you with that. Yeah, so some pivotal moments in my life there, which is followed on with this article. You know, the people are starting to take notice of my kōrero, of my story, of where I was before I actually changed my life and gave up all the drugs and alcohol for 5 years, or over 5 years now. It's really made me strong within, and I encourage everyone who's thinking, oh man, I think I've got a bit of a problem with drinking or smoking or whatever, just honestly, just reach out, because that's what we're here for. There's no shame in it. You can do it. If I can do it, you can definitely do it. And this is my favourite whakatauki, tamatu, tamaora, tamanoho, tamamate. This was given to me by several organisations, and the latest one being the Hui on TV3. The presenters saw that in me, and it's basically if you stand, you live, or if you're healthy, you're alive, and if you become stagnant or lazy, then yeah, it's not going to look good for you. But yeah, I just want to finish off by acknowledging everyone in this whare right now. You are all leaders in my eyes. You can all do good things for everyone. So I hope you all take something out of each kai kōrero and actually go and implement that into our community, because they need it right now. Kia ora.
Ka pai, yeah, ka pai. All right, e hoa ma. Give it another big round of applause for Dallas, e hoa ma. Like we were sussing out because he has got 2 prizes in this one piki here, which is some merchandise and membership. And 2 membership to F45. E hoa ma.
Train with me.
To train with Dallas. So, what we need is two eager whānau members who want to participate and be a part of F45, because Dallas is going to give us a little circuit and you're going to do it. All right? Yeah, we're changing it up. Yeah. We decided, we're going to ask these questions, and then I was like, nah, actually, he's going to do a demonstration, and then yous are going to implement that demonstration and do a squat. Hey, that's all right, and a stretch, and a and a bit of a pukeko walk. All right. So, who are 2 eager people to come up on stage and do a F45 demonstration? All right. Kia kaha mai. Hi. Hara mai, sister. Yep. Hand in the air. Saw it. Hara mai, girl. Oh, yes, we got 2. Hara mai. Ka pai kōrua. Oh, and they're doing it in heels too. Right. All right. And a beautiful Pania Tepaiho. Oh, yeah, she's ready. I'm taking my jacket off. All right. So I'm going to stand out of the way because I'm not an F45 lady. No way. All right, Dallas. When you're ready, just a quick little demo on what they're going to expect at F45. Toru pa. Oh, that's a burpee. That's a burpee, whānau. You know what that... Are you 2 ready? Oh, you're dressed, my sis. All right. Okay. Paki, want to clap them on. Clap. And up. Way! Yes, shades on and all iti whānau. Kia kaha mai. There you go. You fellas won your double prize pack here. All right. Gonna have to split the 2. Go with Dallas. He's gonna hook you 2 up. Paki mai mo te toko toru here. Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much. F45. Oh, we're tau kuri e. Woo! I tell you what, the bro has asked many a times if I'd like to join, but I said, nah, I'm all right, I'm doing I am she, just lift. Anyway, te whānau. We have got our final speaker who's going to come up on stage with us and wrap us up with a beautiful kōrero. But before we do, I've just noticed we've still got a couple of more pēkia here, all right? So I'll just flip that around. So 2 pēkia here, all right? For our first pātau, who can name our proudly sponsored kai tautoko of the evening? We got the Real Talk NZ, this is our kaupapa, but they got one main sponsor. Yeah, well, I'm like, don't turn the bag around. Sister, yell it out, my girl. What's the name? Te Puni Kōkiri. Give it up for Te Puni Kōkiri. Come and get you a pēke, sister. Nā mihi nui ki a koe. Also, Tania, our kai whakahaere, she mentioned a couple of their names. Okay, kaimahi that are in the whare here now. Can anyone remember at least one of their names? Ko wai rātou. Ko wai tētahi o nā kaimahi ki te puni kōkiri. Or was that a bit hard? Oh, hey? KC? Ooh, close. Oh yeah, in the back there, karanga mai sis. Yeah, ka pai over there. Ka pai. Yeah. Ka pai tātou. We got to know that there's these kaupap, there's these hapuri out there, but it's good to know their names so when you walk into the office you can go, kia ora Sinead, how you girl? How you been? Meihana, ain't seen you for a long time. That's the one you hit up, whānau. Meihana. Remember that name. He's this big, tall Māori dude. Pāho down here. All right? No. O te rai hoa mā, ko tai te wā. Anā ki te tuku te rākau, ki tō tātou kai kōrero whakamutunga. It's time to hand the rākau over to our kai kōrero whakamutunga. And I must say, I'm related to this one. Oh, whānau, yes. I know, you know how like these little Māori out there go, oh yeah, there's another one trying to claim her. No, I'm pono marika, whānau, pono marika. And on my gizzy side too, so che te whanaunga. Alrighty te whānau, o tira, tēnei wahine, e ai kia tātou he wahine purotu, a beautiful wahine. Hoi anō he wahine toa hoki. She's also a woman of strength. And she is about to show that and tell us about her journey. Nā rere, e hoa mā. Give us a big round of applause for our final speaker tonight, the one, the only, Harlem-Cruz Ihaia.
Kia ora tātou, ko Harlem-Cruz Ihaia tēnei, he mukapuna e noho i ngā rekereke o Ngāti Kahungunu, Ngāti Maniapoto, Ngāti Parau, Kaitahu, Waihoki, Ngāti Hineuru. So before I start, I just want to do a big mihi to my nan. My two nans that are here tonight and my mum and dad are literally my backbone through life, and I wouldn't be the person who I am today without them. Poipoia te kākano kia puawai. Nurture the seed and it will grow. So I stand here as a mokopuna of Kohanga Reo. Went to Kohanga Reo, then I went on to Kura Kaupapa. And I just want to say my story's a bit different. I didn't have the kind of trauma. I was pretty much had the perfect life. And I'm not ashamed to say that as well. So I'm a product of Kohanga Reo, Kura Kaupapa, and also brought up in a strong faith. So I have been brought up in a whānau of being Christians, but I've obviously, through my story, I'll get through that. So I have an unshakable culture. Nothing could ever move me from being Māori. That's who I am, and that's kind of that's what holds me in everything that I do in life. And just being brought up through Kohanga Reo and Kura Kaupapa and having a strong whānau, that's literally the product of what I am today. So that's why I really encourage you, if you have like mokopuna, you have babies, or you're just bringing up your kids, that is honestly the solidest foundation for them to have a bright future, because I'm legit a product of that, and you'll see that through my story. Okay, it's not working. Just push that, double push. One push. Point here. Okay, got it. Okay. E tupu e reo mō ngā rā o tō ao. So this is a whakatauki that I take legit through my whole entire life. As I've said, I'm very strong in my culture, but I'm not so strong in my Christianity. Obviously, being brought up in Kohanga Reo and Kura Kaupapa, I was a bit, as Rangatahi, we get confused. Oh, okay, should I stand strong as a Māori, but low-key don't show that I'm a Christian, because then I get thinged for it being Māori. And then I stand strong as Christian, then they thing me down for my Māoritanga. So then I was always confused, like, fucking heck, what do I believe? Like, this cousin's telling me this cousin's telling me that. So I always grew up, like, ashamed to be Christian in one world, ashamed to be Māori in one world. But today I stand strong in both. And I'm I have a good balance of both. So I went to Kura Kaupapa every day, go to Kura, te reo Māori anake. Mum and Dad didn't know Māori. I'm the youngest of 8, and I was the only one that went to Kura Kaupapa in Kohanga Reo. So my mum and dad's, what shall I say, their hopes for me was that I would live balance in both worlds. So I'd go to school, do the whole te ao Māori, come home, Pākehā. And that's how I grew up until maybe like 16. So, I would go home and cook. Didn't even know how to do my homework because my mum and dad couldn't help me. It was all in te reo. So I always grew up just kind of standing on in my own mana in te ao Māori, and then the same with the Christianity side. So I always believe anywhere I go that I'm really strong in te ao Māori, but we need to use te ao Pākehā as well for physical sustenance. So I love this whakatauki from Apira Nangata. And he always talks about ko tō ngākau ki ngā taonga a o mātua tīpuna. So I stand strong in my culture, but I also ko tō wairua ki tō atua, but I'm also strong in my Christianity. And that's why I stand here today with my moko kauai and the cross of Jesus as balance, and I'm not ashamed of it either. And I've learned to stand strong in both worlds, and nothing would ever crumble me in any situation, because they're literally what makes me who I am today. He manako te kaura I kore ai. You won't get there by wishing and dreaming it. So obviously I went through kura kaupapa in Kohanga, and I was a very headstrong girl. I was always like, I don't know what I want to be, this is how I'm going to get it, and I'm going to do anything that I'm going to need to do to get it. So in kura kaupapa I was always, doing mani kōrero, doing all the leadership things, trying to be the best student, because I had goals and I had a drive, and I would do anything to kind of get there. That way. And then obviously I went back to Kohanga after finishing kura kaupapa, and that's the whole cycle, eh? That, honestly, the kaumātua in Kohanga Reo love it when a Kohanga Reo mokupuna comes back to give back to the kaupapa. And obviously I was brought up in the kaupapa of Kohanga Reo, so I had a passion to bring up other mokupuna how I was brought up. So I went back to Kohanga Reo, and I was in the kaupapa for 4 to 5 years, and I actually ended up whāngaing some of my mokupuna. So these two big ones, the boy and the girl, they are my two whāngai, and the one I'm holding is my baby. So my whāngai have been in my care for going on 4 years now, but honestly, I wouldn't have them if it wasn't for my mum and dad. Because I'm like the picture girl that has them, and it's my mum and dad that actually, do all the mahi. And I'm not ashamed to say that, because honestly, any Māori whānau knows it takes a village to raise a child. And I'm only 24. So I took on these mokupuna, I think I was 18 at the time, and I wouldn't have been able to take them into my care properly without the village helping us to raise them. And everyone always asks me, oh, did you just want the kids? No, I didn't really have a choice. I was the kaiako of the Kohanga Reo at the time. The mum and dad just didn't come back one day to come and pick them up at 3 o'clock. Low-key, it's normal in Kohanga Reo. And I just thought, oh, their parents are running late. I'll just take them home. They'll ring me, blah, blah, blah. No phone call. And we went, oh, okay, that's a bit odd. And it went on for a couple of weeks, and then ended up, long story short, they ended up in our care. And it was supposed to be like a 1 year thing while their parents went off to get their shit together. And we're going on 4 or 5 years now, but now they're part of the whānau and part of the furniture. And my baby actually thinks that that's his brother and sister. So yeah, they're part of our whānau now, and that's my journey and ongoing journey of being a whāngai parent that way. Mā tō raurou, mā tōku raurou, ka ora ai te iwi. So, as most of you know me as Miss Universe New Zealand, a lot of people don't even actually know my name. They're like, oh, that's Miss Universe. That's Miss Universe New Zealand. I'm like, my name's Harlem, but okay. And this is pretty much what made me, everyone kind of know me and know my story. So I'll take it back. So everyone thinks that I done Miss Universe New Zealand because I wanted to. First of all, as I told you, I had a drive. I always wanted to be an actress. So I was on Star Now. It's a bit of a, if you want to be an actress, that's where all the auditions and stuff are. So I went on there, and then I saw there was an advertisement for Miss Universe New Zealand. At the time, I never knew Miss Universe was a pageant, and all I saw was photo shoots, acting, all these different things that you could do. And I was like, oh, I want to check this out. So it said, send in your photo, your name, how old you were, blah, blah, blah. Ended up doing that, and then I got told that I had to go to an info night, and it was in Auckland. I was living in Napier at the time. I told my mum and dad, and I remember clearly, and my dad will know too, when I showed him that, he goes, what the hell? Are you going to do Miss Universe New Zealand? You can't even do Miss Waimarama. And then I was like, and then that's what triggered me hard. And I was like, oh yeah, fucking tell me, I'm going to go there then. So I ended up going there, and then one of the girls here that came with me, my little cousin, and we went there, and I was the only Māori in the room. There were about 80 other wahine, Pākehā, only Māori in the room. No, these girls are like top model, blonde, white, blue eyes, and then Māori comes here from Ahuriri. And I was just like, what the heck? I feel so out of place. What am I doing here? Found out it was a pageant, and I was like, oh, nah, I'm not doing this. No way. I rang my mum and dad that night and said, oh my gosh, this is a pageant. I don't want to do this. I'm ugly. I can't even do this. What was I thinking? My mum and dad told me, just get through the night and you'll be, just get through the weekend, Get through the weekend, you can come home and then, nothing will happen. Anyways, that weekend they were picking the top 20 that were going to take on this journey. I was watching all these, top supermodel kind of girls, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get in. Yep, I'll just freaking do it for the next 2 days, and then, no one will know what happened. Anywho, I did the whole weekend, and then I went home, and then I came back to this pressure. My whole whānau had found out that I had, auditioned for Miss Universe New Zealand, and then there was this pressure of, oh my gosh, how much was going to be in the top 20? And I was like, cuz, man, there were 60 of us. They didn't even tell me that I'm getting in. Nothing's going to happen. Everyone had this pressure on me, and then I felt this, oh my gosh, if I don't get in, everyone's going to, I'm going to let everyone down. So then I remember the night they were announcing it, all my whānau were in front of the TV, and they were announcing it and top 19, and top 18, and fuck, it was getting down to the fourth person, and I was like, oh my gosh, and embarrassing because my whole whānau is watching and waiting for me to come on, and I'm not coming on. Anywho, I was the last person to get called out on the Facebook Live, and I got into the top 20, and my whole whānau was proud of me. And it was at that moment that I went, oh, what the fuck have I gotten myself into? Because it was like I just had this big pressure put on me straight away from that point. So what no one saw was all the pressure that I went through. I obviously went through the top 20, and I kind of fluked it. I'm not joking. It was a whole fluke. Didn't even want to do it. Ended up doing it, and I told my mum and dad, okay, I'm just going to do this, and they actually go, the Miss Universe New Zealand managers asked me, oh, what's your why? Why are you doing this? And I had to go in the toilet and be like, fuck, why am I doing this? And then honestly, I made up this big lie. And I was like, I'm doing it to break stereotypes of Māori. And it was a seller. And the managers were like, oh my gosh, that sounds great, we're going to use that. And and everyone thinks I done it for that, but I actually didn't. I just made that up. Anywho, but I ended up doing it anyways. So yeah, that was my whole why I done it. So then I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to stick to that. I'm going to break stereotypes of Māori wahine. So I took that through my whole journey, and that's all I done it for. I never ever thought I was going to win it. That was never a goal, because my mindset was set on, I'm just a Māori. I'm only, there's all these wahine that have trained their whole lives to be Miss Universe New Zealand. I can't win this. So I automatically didn't want to put that I'm going to win, because I was too scared to fail or to, not meet the standards. So then I was like, no, I'm just going to do it for the journey, and that's all I'm keen to do. So anywho, long story short, I ended up winning. And then I was like, oh, for fuck's sakes. And I'm just freaking winging this. And I remember the night, if you watch that clip, they're like, and Harlem-Cruz Ihaia. I'm gobsmacked, thinking inside, what the fuck? And then as soon as I got off stage, I went back to my hotel with my whānau, and I broke down crying. I told my mum and dad, I don't want to do this. I never wanted to do this. I done this for yous. I actually remember telling my mum and dad, I don't want to do this. And they said, we don't care. You're going to do it for us. You're going to do it for me and your mum, your nan, your auntie, your blah, blah. And I'm just like, what about me? And it was like, no, Harlem, you've got to push yourself to the side. This is all about us. So then I ended up having to do that whole journey, not for myself, for my whānau. And then it actually ended up in a spiral after that, which is my next clip. So this was me. This was the Harlem before, I was a bit of a Pania. I was always wearing, red bands. I would have rocked up here in red bands. You always see me in Swan Dries, jeans. Didn't even know what this person was, who this person was. And after the whole Miss Universe journey, I found another Harlem that I never knew even existed. And here we go. Whatever will be, just get it done. So this was the Harlem after Miss Universe New Zealand. I was lost, didn't know who I was. Before Miss Universe New Zealand, knew who I was, knew where I was going, strong in my culture, done the whole Miss Universe journey for, not myself, for someone else, for my whānau, lost who I was completely. I was a full-time stoner, that I never gave being sober a chance. I was always bonging every single chance I could get. I'd be up here being Miss Universe New Zealand in the car toking up on a bong straight after. Like, I'll legit walk out that door in the car, my mate, my cousin over there, legit in the passenger seat with my bong packed, and I'm ready to toke up straight away as I walk out that door. And that was me for the whole year of being Miss Universe New Zealand. No one would have ever known that I was a stoner or anything like that. Even my nan's probably sitting there like, oh my gosh. But that's how good I was at hiding it. And because I had signed a contract at that time, and I wasn't allowed to bring any, demonetizing Miss Universe New Zealand, so I had to be perfect. Couldn't do anything that would ever, look bad. And then obviously using the breaking stereotypes of Māori, couldn't show what I was actually up to. So then I ended up, being a full-time stoner, losing myself, and I think, I was actually hard at having suicidal thoughts. I remember I was in Bangkok. So heaps of rangatahi are like, oh my gosh, you got to travel the world? And I'm like, yeah, by myself. Do you know how freaking scary that is and how lonely that is to go to Bangkok, Thailand, Australia, all these different places by yourself? It's so different than to going with your whānau and enjoying it. So I went overseas, I get homesick. I get homesick when I just go to Hastings. So just imagine getting on a plane and going to bloody Bangkok with my manager, who's a white Pākehā, has no idea what wairua is, has no idea, and when I was in Bangkok, this was my last trip as Miss Universe New Zealand. I rang my mum and dad, and I was literally ready to cark it. Had enough of all the pressures, being this, poster girl, being this, person that everyone wanted me to be. And I was crying, and I said, I fucking can't do this anymore. My mum and dad said, it's all right, you're nearly finished, after that, it'll end. So then went and done these things, and I remember I was at this photo shoot in the Philippines, and the Philippines love pageants. It's like millions of people, and I'm standing in this thing, just being poster girl, smiling like everything's all good, and I just dropped to my knees and I just started crying. And I had never experienced what an anxiety attack was, never experienced what anxiety even was, and I remember telling my manager, I don't know what's happening to me, I can't breathe, I'm just breaking down crying, and he said, just shush Harlem, get your shit together, we've got sponsors to meet, blah, 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 who cares about you, just get your shit together. So I was like, what the fuck, I can't even breathe, I don't know what's happening, but they didn't really care about that. So I ended up having to go in the toilet, you've just been crying, so you can hard out, see you've been crying, and I just had to get my shit together and, soldier on. And that's what I'd done for the next year that got me to this person. Before I was this person, I was like, good size 12, healthy, fit, and at this I was about a size 6. Very skinny, very unhappy, but no one ever knew that I was like that because I was always good at hiding it. But how I got back to being me, went through the whole Miss Universe thing, and I was like, yes, it's over. It's over. I can finally frickin' be myself and give that all up. Anyways, you can see this on live television. I'm giving over the crown to the next person, and then they come in and they're like, and we want to present Harlem with Miss Universe New Zealand Ambassador. And then I'm like, what the fuck? It never ends. I just want to fucking get out of here. So then I'm like, oh, hell no, nah. And anyways, I went backstage and I was so angry with the managers and everything. I said, get fucked, you white cunt. That's what I literally told him. I was like, you're just a fucking ballhead, you don't fucking get it, blah, blah, blah. And I cursed him so much that I feel sorry for him now. But, because I just said, you don't get it. Like, you just don't get Te Ao Māori. You haven't supported my wairua, my henengaro, or anything. All you care about is taha tinana. So then I went through this whole healing phase. And what brought me back was this moment. This is my auntie Mahina Rangi Smith. I was in a really bad space at this time, and I went to one of her korowai wānangas, and I learned how to do korowai and rongoa. And this was like that light bulb moment in my life where I was like, fuck, I know where I fucked up. It was when I started doing shit for everybody else, stopped doing my stuff in my culture, stopped doing things that I liked, and was living for the world, basically. And that's where I lost myself. And then I was like, fuck, I never, ever, ever want any rangatahi to ever go through life not knowing who they are, not knowing what they like, and not knowing their fucking culture or their God. Because that's where I fucking lost myself. And didn't, got to that point of, I don't even want to be here anymore. So that's where I ended up getting pregnant. And that's where my whole life changed. I ended up getting pregnant, and I had my son, Rangiatia. So he kākano I rui o mai I Rangiatia. I remember my dad's a bit of a names guy. He names everybody, if you know him. He gives everybody a nickname. And I remember I was saying to my dad, I'm going to name my son Rangiatia. And he was like, what the hell? That's a dumb name. And I'm like, oh my God. So anywho, the whole kaupapa behind my son's name was because I was healing at the time. And I remember when I was happy with him, I just knew I don't even want my son to not know where he's from, not know, his roots or his culture or his God. And that's why I named him Rangiatia. And that was a really healing time for me as well. That way. And that's where my Pākehī came from. That's the birth of my Pākehī. So I made a decision. I don't want any, because I'm really passionate in rangatahi and wahine specifically. So I said, I never want any wahine to not know who they are or not stand in their own mana and, find out their mana motuhake. So then I said, I'm going to come up with a after-school program to help young hine build confidence, resilience, and bring on their independence. So I started Purotu. Purotu is my Pākehī. I develop programs for young hine and wahine. It's a bit of a fluke too. I just had a passion. I was like, I'm going to do it. No funding, no nothing, don't even know what I'm up to, but it seems to be working. So I actually have some of my wahine here tonight that are on my program. I run the Kohine Māori movement. It's a program that helps Kohine Māori aged 18 to 25 overcome the struggles and barriers of employment. And obviously being a rangatahi, I'm only 24 and I'm teaching 18 to 25-year-olds, there was a big how can you do that? You're only a rangatahi. What do you know? Blah, blah, blah. Anywho, I came from a perspective of co-designing, for rangatahi by rangatahi. And I'm showing these other wahine that, it doesn't matter how old you are. I'm not the facilitator. I just bring in. I'm a connector. I bring in other adults. I bring in other wahine to help. I'm on this journey with them, which makes it even better. Because, I don't put myself as the teacher or anything. I'm just here because I kind of just know how to bring people in. And I'm just fluking it at the moment anyways. So that's where I am at the moment. I just had a dream and a passion and just went for it. You can have a dream and a passion. If you keep planning and planning and planning, you actually got to do the mahi, because then you just sit in planning idea mode for too long, and sometimes you just got to jump in, feel the fear, and do it anyways. And everyone asks me, oh my gosh, you're so busy. How do you do this? How do you do that? Blah, blah, blah. Bro, it's in my fucking whakapapa. These are my nannies, legit. These are my nannies. And that's, it's just our destined birthright. I'm not being anyone but who I was supposed to be. And that's what I believe with every wahine in this room. We are destined to be wahine toa. We are destined to be mana wahine. You know, why try and be something else when that was our birthright and that's what we're supposed to be doing? You know, it's there. You just need to claim it. Tēnā tātou.
All right, whānau. E te whānau. Harlem forgot to do one thing. I was supposed to drop that, but I was like, oh, the soundy guy's watching me. O tira, e te whānau, give our sister Harlem-Cruz Ihaia a big, big, big paki. Woo. And that is a beautiful whakapapa line along there, e te whānau. That is something beautiful to admire, e whāma. And we all have that. We all have that. We have a whakapapa line just like Harlem, e karema. And what a way to finish our evening. E whāma, kua tai te wā kia hoki ngā mahara. Kua tai hoki te wā to give away our final prize. But before we do, e whāma, I want us to all whakaaro ake, think about all of our kai kōrero that have stood on this stage, shared their story, shared their kōrero with us, given us the real kaupapa for tonight, for your pleasure, for your relevance, for you to go out those doors and feel absolutely inspired and ready to take on the world. Paki mai, kia rātou mā katoa. And a big paki for Eve over here, whānau. Our model here for our prizes. So our pātai whakamutunga e whāma, in regards to tēnei wahine purotu e karema, is that, she did a lot. But I'd like yous to name the name of her pakihi that she has started for wahine here in Kahungunu. And if you're already part of that, you cannot answer that question. All right? Purotu ma. All right, so I'm looking on this side. I've been looking. Oh, I've ka pai, karanga mai, darling, karanga mai. What is the name of Harlem's pakihi? Purotu? Yes. Purotu. Haramai ki te tiki tō taonga, which is some Māori wahine affirmation cards. How beautiful is that? Paki mai e wāma. Nā reira, which is... Oh, yeah, we did that. Okay, e wāma. Before we do close off with the karakia, we would like to invite our handsome matua back on the stage here. No mai hoki mai anō me tō ātāhuatanga. But just before we do finish off, we would like to remind you that there will be a survey. A survey will be sent to you via email, okay, e wāma. We need you to fill that in. Our Real Talk whānau need to know a little bit of feedback, need to know your thoughts on this kaupapa, because if you give Mickey feedback, we're going to come back. We're going to bring the real back. Do you want the real to come back here? Ai, paki mai, if you want the real to come back to Kahungunu, to te Matau a Māui. Kia ora. So you need to fill in that survey, okay? So a survey will come out to you. All right, e wāma. Find the time. It should only take 5 to 10 minutes of your time to fill it in. Send that feedback out. Ka pai e wāma. And one last round of applause, e wāma, for our kai kōrero who stood today and shared their kōrero with us. Started off with Paris Brown, all the way from Poranga. Ho! Takatāpui mai kazi, takatāpui atu. Kia ora. And then we had, of course, the wonderful, beautiful, courageous woman here, Jonique Oli. Kia ora, my sister, Waiapu Road. I was going to sing that, but oh no, girl, you're going to ruin that song. Then we had the most beautiful, my personal highlight, okay, my personal highlight tonight, definitely Constance Ready. Tēnā koe e te tuahine. Thank you for sharing that kōrero. Thank you so much. And then we had the, raw, real, mana, wahine, toa, Pania in the whare, Tepaiho, kia ora. Then we had our final two speakers, who was none other but our F45 #1 leading in the rohe here, Dallas Adams. And then we finished it off e Wāma with Harlem-Cruz Ihaia. Tēnā koe te whanaunga, paki paki mai anō. And before we get our matua on the stage to just wrap it all up, a big, big, big round of applause. She's going to serenade us before we do finish up, and that is our kaiwaiata o te pōnei, the none other but Miss Lucy Sings. Give us a big round of applause for our sister. She's not finished though. She's got more waiata to give you, all right? Nā reira, it would be kino not to, but here in Kahungunu, we always like to show a bit of aroha back to our kaiwhakahaere, ne? And like we heard from Tania, she was the one that came in here, infiltrated our iwi, said, where is it at whānau? She, of course, hooked up with Cassie and Tio first from Te Puni Kōkiri, and then they said, oh, yeah, you know, this chick, Kiino, she'll hook you up. And so we hooked her up. We hooked her up. But it's with her hooking us up was bringing this kaupapa together. So Tania, e te tuahine, I would like to gift you this little Pākehī from us here in Kahungunu to you, e te tuahine, for bringing the real talk NZ here to our whenua. Tēnā koe, e te tuahine. No mai hara mai, come and get your prize. Got to give her a prize. This is our sister here. Now, we were going to do a bit of a rendition, but there's no rakura kai raku. Kei te pai. We'll do that, after hours. So, e te whānau whānui. Ka nui rā te mihi kia koutou katoa. Thank yous once again for showing up tonight, for putting out the kaupapa, for showing your love. Tautoko, aki, all of that stuff e hoama. It has been absolute honour and privilege to carry this kaupapa for all of yous, and we hope that it comes back to Kahungunu, girl. O te rā. We're going to ask this handsome fella to come up on stage now. He keeps on shaking his head. I don't know why. It's like, come on, bro. Come on, bro.
Ka te rā, tēnā tātou, e hara au I te tangata pēra. Hoi anō, ko tāku noa e tuhu mariri ki waingaru ia koutou I tēnei pō. Hei whakakapinga tēnei o a tātou nei pō, ka taki tū tātou, he paku waiata noa, e iwa pia ngā kupu, te aroha, te whakapono, me te rangi mārie, tātou e. E tū. Te aroha. Anō reira, e tau nei ki rungi a tātou katoa te wairua ngā mātua tūpuna. Nā rātou e whakatako tō te ara hei koe ngā mātātou ngā uri. E whakatōki o tātou ngākau ki tēnā, ki tēnō o tātou ngai whanaunga piringa karanga maha. Āpiti atu rā ki te hunga mā wiwi. E rongo, whakairi ake ki rongo, kia toi tū te rōpū, kia toi tū te aroha, kia toi tū te rangatahi e tau nei uhi wero. Tau mai te mauri, haumi e hui e... Taiki. Kia ora mai rā tātou.
Kia ora mai tātou.
Pō mana hau.
Oh, pō mana hau. Tēnā koe.
No, all good. We're going to just play some music.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Just beautiful.
Oh, bro.
You look just beautiful. Well, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Sis, you killed that.
That's a wrap.
You killed that.
Oh, yeah, at the beginning, my sister, we
But
fucking sorted it.
you got it. You got it, though. You pulled it.